నమో నమః. అందరికీ నమస్కారములు. Today is good day for all of us that we are going to have a very interesting, very important topic. Panini Ashtadhyayi is the introduction. I will introduce the speaker very shortly after Vande Mataram and then Prarthana. Let us request Anant Kumar Garu to recite Vande Mataram, please.
ధన్యవాదः ధన్యవాదः మహోదయ. వందే మాతరం వందే మాతరం సుజలా సుఫలా మలయజ శీతలా సస్యశ్యామలా మాతరం వందే మాతరం శుభ్రజ్యోత్స్నా పులకితయామినీ ఫుల్లకుసుమిత ద్రుమదళ శోభినీ సుహాసినీ సుమధుర భాషిణీ సుఖదాం వరదా మాతరం వందే మాతరం వందే మాతరం. ధన్యవాదः.
వందే మాతరం. ధన్యవాదములండి ఆనంత్ కుమార్ గారు. Now let us request Prakash garu. I think I'll make him co-host first. Prakash garu, are you there?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm there, sir.
Okay. Let us request Prakash garu to chant Prarthana, please.
Yes, sir. సభ్యులందరికీ నమస్కారం సార్. అంటే అలాగే పెద్దలందరికీ కూడా నమస్కారం సార్. ప్రభాకర్ రావు గారు, తర్వాత అమరేంద్ర బాబు గారు, అందరికీ కూడా సార్. కుమార్ గారు కూడా నమస్కారాలండి. శ్రీ గురుభ్యో నమః. ఓం గణానాం త్వా గణపతిం హవామహే కవిం కవీనాముపవస్రవస్సమం జ్యేష్ఠరాజం బ్రహ్మణాం బ్రహ్మణస్పద ఆనశృణ్వన్నోతిభిः సీదసాదనం. ఓం శ్రీ మహాగణాధిపతయే నమః. ప్రణో దేవి సరస్వతి వాజేభిర్వాజినీవతి దీనామవిత్ర్యవతు. ఓం శ్రీ మహాసరస్వత్యై నమః. గురురేవ గతి గురుమేవ భజే గురునైవ సహాస్మి నమో గురవే. న గురో పరమం శిశురస్మి గురో మతిరస్తి గురౌ మమ పాహి గురో. జ్ఞానానందమయం దేవం నిర్మలం స్ఫటికాకృతిం ఆధారం సర్వ విద్యానాం హయగ్రీవముపాస్మహే. శృతి స్మృతి పురాణానామాలయం కరుణాలయం నమామి భగవత్పాద శంకరం లోకశంకరం. శంకరం శంకరాచార్యం కేశవం బాదరాయణం. సూత్రభాష్య కృతౌ వందే భగవంతౌ పునః పునః. ఈశ్వరో గురురాత్మేతి మూర్తిభేద విభాగినే వ్యోమవద్వ్యాప్త దేహాయ దక్షిణామూర్తయే తమసో మా జ్యోతిర్గమయ మృత్యోర్మా అమృతంగమయ. ఓం శాంతి శాంతి శాంతి. మాతృదేవో భవ పితృదేవో భవ ఆచార్య దేవో భవ देवो भव। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। सर्वेभ्यः नमस्कारः। अम्मा विशालाक्षम्మ गाరు నమస్కారం అండి. థ్యాంక్ యూ సార్. ధన్యవాదాలు సార్.
We are hearing from you after a very long time, and also this is an opportunity we have utilized to hear chanting from you. Thank you so much. Now, I want to briefly introduce Anant garu. He is the speaker today is Anant Upadhyayula garu. By profession, he is a controls engineer and started exploring Sanskritam grammar almost a decade ago with Laghu Siddhanta Kaumidi. Slowly, the desire morphed into Panini grammar, and he still learn. Let us request him to give us knowledge about this grammar. Welcome, sir, Ananthanji. HP Rao, you want to say anything about to introduce Anant garu from your side?
Anant garu is a traditional believer of our Sanatana Dharma and follower also. And I know him last couple of years. I am waiting for his lecture on introduction to Panini Ashtadhyayi. Swagatam Mahodaya.
Okay. So let us request him to start the webinar, please.
Namaste everyone. Let me share my screen. I hope everybody can see the screen.
Yes.
Let me see.
Yeah, we are seeing.
So Prarthana. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Typically, the grammarians, they also do an extended prayer, which basically remembering the acharyas that brought this grammar to us. I'll read these shlokas quickly. Yena ksharasamam nayam adhigamya maheshwarat kritsnam vyakaranam proktam tasmai paninaye namaha yena dhauta girah pumsam vimalai shabdavaribhi tamascha jnanajam bhinnam tasmai paninaye namaha वाक्यकारं वररुचिं भाष्यकारं पतञ्जलिं पाणिनिं सूत्रकारं च प्रणतोऽस्मि मुनित्रयम्. Om. So let's dwell on this shloka, the last one. I highlighted a little bit. It mentions three acharyas: Vararuchi, Patanjali, and Panini. So these are the sort of three pillars that gave us the Sanskritam grammar. So grammar always existed before Panini existed, and after Panini, it transformed into a science basically. So how do we know it existed? So if you look at Panini Ashtadhyayi, he refers to many acharyas. There is Maheshwara, he calls Shakatayana, and many other acharyas he mentions. So like acknowledging the copyright when he took some of his work. But the dawn of Panini grammar basically was like rising of a sun. When sun comes, all the stars, no matter how bright they are, they just disappear from the horizon. So Panini grammar in Sanskritam is like that. And then it's a deep enough subject. If somebody dedicates 8 hours a day, then you need typically like 2 to 3 years of dedicated study to do it. Like an enthusiast and hobbyist, it can take decades and a lifetime. So with that, so Panini is the original grammarian. What Panini Maharshi did in a small book, if I can, so a book about this thick, I hope you all can see it, and about that big. So this is my palm, so just for a reference. It's about the size of a palm, and that thing has about 85 pages. And this book contains the entire Sanskritam literature grammar. Every word you can derive, every word you can explain how it was created, how it was formed. That is the beauty of Panini grammar. But what Panini did is he simply wrote the sutras, like some call as meta rules, like very simple, short rules. And then he taught it to other acharyas, and then Varuruchi, basically Katyayana Maharshi, same as Varuruchi, he wrote some Vartikas. So basically, if some of the words, it sort of bits confusing, or it cannot be, it's not clearly, there is a way to misinterpret. He created something called Vartikas. After Vartikakara came Patanjali. He is the same Patanjali Muni that gave us the Yoga Darshanam. He wrote Mahabhashyam, and that basically set everything. So what he did is he took Panini's grammar, he took Varuruchi's Vartikas, he sliced, diced the whole thing and said, no, this Vartika is not necessary, this rule, that's how it's meant. He did a thorough analysis of it and then froze it, basically. After that, there is literally no modification in the Sanskritam grammar. But as time progressed, the learning capability, you can call it, or the learning standard lowered or something. In the olden days, when the Acharya Parampara and the Rishi Parampara was abundant, across Bharat Desha, kids used to memorize the entire Ashtadhyayi by the time they go to the Gurukulam. And then the teacher will teach them all the, some other things. And by the age of 10, 11, they all came out as Sanskrit scholars where they don't have to worry. But again, those were the days when Sanskritam was the mother language, and people couldn't understand, and slowly the degeneration. And in that, what happened is the memorizing 4,000 sutras was becoming painful. Then the Kaumudi Adi Granthas came, where basically what they did is their focus was solely on the Prakriya Grantha. Even when we talk about Kaumudi, Siddhanta Kaumudi, Laghu Siddhanta Kaumudi, and then Madhya Kaumudi, and so many other Kaumudis are there. What happens is you still need the basic meta rules that Panini Maharshi gave, and we will get a little taste of it. So before this is one of the way basically it was visualized like the Vedangas basically in the form of a human. Then this shloka stands out here. Chandah padav tu vedasya hastau kalpo patyate ज्योतिषाम नयनम चक्षुर निरिक्तम श्रोत्रम उच्यते शिक्षा घ्राणम तु वेदस्य मुखम व्याकरणम स्मृतम तस्मात् सांगम अधीत्येव ब्रह्मलोके महीयते. So here they refer the Vyakarana as the most important anga. Like, in a human body, the most important anga is mukha, because it basically helps you communicate, and it also, helps process the food to sustain the body. And it's almost given as much importance the Vyakarana is given in Sanskritam. So with that, let's jump into a little bit about Panini. Panini had 6 names based on many of his literature. One is Panin, his local Panino Apatyam Paninaha. So somebody named Panin was there. His son was called Panin. And the second name was Panini. Panini Sapatyam. Whoever the first one, the Panin, his Apatyam is called his grandson, basically. The Panin's grandson is called Panini. Another name that many people gave is Dakshiputra. So it is thought by the scholars that his mother's name was Dakshi, and she is from Daksha Gotra. So Dakshi. Shalanki is another name. That was Shalanka. Shalanka was his father. So Shalanka Siapatyam is Shalanki. And then Shalaturiya is basically he was the resident. And these are all derived from scholars. There are many scholars that analyze the whereabouts of Panini, where he lived. So it was fairly considered that he was part of the Takshashila Gurukulam when it was the ancient Bharata. And Ahik is another name that Ahik is the name that was given to him at the time of his birth. One of the ukti that stands out is Akumaram Yashap Panineya. So the Bhashakaras who mentioned the Panini's work and wrote on work, they specifically said that even the youngest kids knew who Panini was. His yasha was that great, even the little kids knew. That tells us, in the olden times, Panini knows. So now if you walk across Bharata and, we don't have to say, if you say Panini, then the first question will be who? So basically the degeneration happened up to that level. Anyways, let's get into Panini's work. So what scholars acknowledge is Panini wrote about 6 books. And these are called Adhyocharana. Many places it's referred as Adhyocharanam. He's the first one to utter it. So one is Siksha, it's phonetics. How the letters are pronounced, how the letters are originated, how the words are formed. All those phonetic rules are very clearly defined. There is no randomness in it. I mean, if you just want to spend some time on Siksha, that is a good month's worth of study, just to understand the phonetic rules of Sanskritam, like how precise they are. Then the Ashtadhyayi. Ashtadhyayi has 1,000 shloka equivalent. What I mean by that, if you take any Anustup Chanda that has 32, 8 matras in a quarter, making it 32 matras. So if you calculate the number of matras like that, it's a fairly about 1,000 shloka equivalent. Translates to about 32,000 matras. Then he created Dhatu Patha. 2,000 is sort of a roundabout. Some I think now few others come back and say no, there are 2,200 dhatus. Few scholars analyze those 1,940 dhatus. So around 2,000 is a good ballpark, we can say. He created these verbal roots, and from every word that is derived in Sanskritam can be derived from these roots. Then Ganapatha. Ganapatha, what he did is, there are certain words, they exhibit a certain property. Basically, when you look at the usage of it, or how it is derived in other forms, all they exhibit in certain properties. So what Panini did is he collected those words and put it in one place, and it became like a Ganapatha. And then Unadi Kosha, it's like rules, some extra pratyas and everything that he put it under. So like Unadayo Bahulam, he said sometimes these are used, not used. So you can call it like an appendix of things. And then the last work, many scholars say that it was written by Panini, and some dispute, but Linganushashanam. It's basically a deterministic rule to define the gender of things, like in English or in any other of our languages. When we say vriksha, a tree, is Napunsaklinga, because it's not a human. But in Sanskritam, based on the word, the object does not have a linga, the word has it. So based on that, it says the vriksha is basically a pullinga in Sanskritam. So with that, I'll touch on every basically all these works that I showed you. I'll simply touch on these, and Like I said, 1 hour is too little time to cover any of these things. So Siksha is, if you look here, this shloka basically says, Ashtau sthanani varnana urah kanthas shirastatha jivha moolam cha dantascha nasikosthau cha talucha. So these are the 8 places they say the sound is originated. And then based on that, uraha, kantha, shiraha, and each letter comes from that. It's a very, very precise phonetic analysis. For example, if you and you can test some of these things. So, for example, if you say, I think if I go next slide, Varnamala, this existed even before Panini. So, Sanskritam letters were same. They didn't go through any transformation. But these letters, we are familiar. People who cannot read Devanagari here, Telugu speaking. So simply it's like, Swara is like E. Basically the Ach, we call it in Telugu, we call it Achulu. Where the word Achulu came, it's a very interesting thing that I learned. I'm going to share that in a minute. So what these Varnamalas, they existed, but if you pay a close attention, so he created these category of letters, not Panini. It's a very it's part of a Sanskritam letters, but if you look at it, the first one is ka, kha, ga, gha, nga. They're all originated from Kantha and cha cha. So if you all can try it. You cannot say ka with your closed lips. You cannot, because and same way you cannot say pa with your open lips. Those are Oshtha. So first varna is like Varnamala ka, kha, ga, gha, nga. It's from Kantha. Then the sound just touches on the upper palate. It is called Talu, and even more that is Murdha, and above that is Danta, Ta, Tha, Da, Dha, Na. You can feel it when you say Ta, Tha, Da, Dha, Na. Your tip, the front part of your tongue touches the teeth and gum line, and those. So it's very, very precise sound. And not only that, on that he added swara and everything. So all these rules, he observed and he created, and he called it as Siksha Shastra. There, they went into deep analysis of why is the sound produced, how it is produced, what is the amount of stress it needs to be put in. All those very deterministic rules are clearly given in it, and it's a very, very fascinating subject worth pursuing. And these are the things that used to be taught to 6 years old, 5 years old in the ancient Bharat Desha. Now, so then what's Panini's contribution? If the aksharas already existed, then what was Panini's contribution? So he came, the Varnamala that you saw before, what he did is he rearranged them, and rearranged them. There is a saying, like, what Panini did is, this is a story. I mean, everybody loves a good story, but I treat it like a story. Because I'll express my opinion why treating like a story is better than a fact. The story is, Panini was a very, very dumb student. He did not know anything, and his teacher used to got really mad at him for not learning things and all that. And finally, one day, somebody kicked him out of the class. Out of frustration, he went to Himalayas, he did tapasya, and then finally Lord Shankar basically blessed him. And then when Lord Shankar basically, he played the Damru 14 times, and he heard the sutras like Ayun, Rilruk. If you say Ayun, it sounds like a little Damru. That's one story. And the other story, which is more appealing to me, is Panini was a genius. Because why? The Panini has a history of grammar. Panini's uncle, his Matula, basically, he collected almost like 100,000 rules basically for Sanskritam words, and Panini condensed it to 1,000. So he basically zipped it by about 99%. So either way, the people who say Maheshwara, because like I said, he acknowledged many acharyas before. So he says Maheshwara was another acharya. He discussed his scheme, and he gave the gave the credit to him by acknowledging that this sutra, that the 14 sutras that are going to come in front of on the screen, came from Acharya named Maheshwara. So Maheshwara Agatani, Maheshwarani. And the other people who quote believe in the traditional thing. They say they quote this shloka, which is not in any Pramanic Grantha. Nrittavasane Nataraja Rajaha Nanada Dakkam Navapanchavaram Uddhartu Kamat Sanakadi Siddhan Etat Vimarshe Shiva Sutra Jalam. Like at the end of this cosmic dance, Shiva basically played the Damaru 14 times, and these 14 sutras came out. Those are Ayun Rilrik Eong Ayauch Hayavarat Lanyamagananam Jabai Ghadadash Jabagadash Khapa Chatata 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 Kapai Shashasar Hal. So either way, whether you believe in one way or the other, the fact is that we have these 14 beautiful, wonderful sutras. And why they are wonderful? Before Panini, no Acharya ever put the letters in this scheme. And what's the benefit of doing that in a language form? If you pay attention to the first sutra, Ayun Riluk Eong Ayauch. In Telugu, we call this as Achulu. Without knowing, swaras, where it comes from? It comes from this Maheshwara Sutra. You take the first letter A and the last letter Cha and becomes Ach. If you ignore all the highlighted letters, what you see is those are all alphabets. So look at the genius of Panini. If he want to say all vowels, he would not say I, Ulri, all that. He would simply say Ach. So based on this scheme, what Panini Maharshi did is he created these acronyms. In English also we say A to Z. A to Z we use it for all the letters, but A to Z, it's and there is no usage for A to Z to use anywhere in the language other than saying A to Z. But here, if you want to refer to all the swaras, he would say Ach. Similarly, if you look at the first letter Ha and the last letter is La, so when he says Hal, it becomes the collection of all the consonants. So based on Ach and Hal, he created two small, basically acronyms that he can use to write these small, grammar rules. Because of that, what happened is the language usages became so small. He can, in a very, very small words, very, very few words, he can convey a large meaning. He can simply say, Alon Tyat Purva Upadha. So he's saying Al. Al means what? Starting from A, going up to Lakara. So the last La, whatever it is, then he can define a name for it. So he created these small things. These are called Pratyaharas. And in Panini's Ashtadhyayi grammar, he created about 44 of these Pratyaharas. And that basically condensed the grammar aspect and in such a small, concise form that even kids can memorize it. So Ashtadhyayi, what it is? So if you look at the word Ashtadhyayi itself, it says Ashtanam Adhyayanam Samaharaha iti Ashtadhyayi. It's a collection of 8 adhyayas. So he wrote all these meta rules and divided into 8 adhyayas. But again, the fact is, when Panini wrote, he did not create this is Adhyaya 1, this is Adhyaya 2 and all that. He simply wrote all these things in one book. Later on, when Panini's grammar was almost on the verge of extinction, in that time frame, Maharshi Dayananda and his lineage, they basically came and they thoroughly analyzed it. They found the books. They found into many Rigvedi Brahmanas they used to keep and they used to recite this. And so from them, they collected the books, spent time, and then they created, okay, this is Adhyaya 1, 2, 3, and all that, and they categorized it. And from that onwards, it became famous as Ashtadhyayi. So, so before we jump onto the Ashtanam Adhyayanam Samahara iti Ashtadhyayi. So, Atha Shabdanushashanam is how it begins. So, Shabda Anushashanam. So Shabda Anushashanam, what does it mean? So Anushashanam, Anu means paschat. Shashanam means like, setting any rules. So Paschat rules, what does it mean? Like, where did the rules come from? Like, did the rule already existed? Yes. The rules existed in the Vedas, because Shasana can be only done by only one, Paramatma. Everything else is an Anushasana after that. So Panini Maharshi, what his genius was, he studied all the Vedas and all the Swara, basically the entire Shastra, and he could see all the words as one whole. So then it became easy for him to do, okay, if I make this rule, what are the other words that's going to conflict with these rules? Just imagine holding that thought in your brain itself is sort of mind boggling. Somebody, a human being, walked on this planet Earth, and he created these rules where he can sit together and see all the Sanskritam words at a time, where he can pick a pen and say, I'm going to write this rule, and this rule is going to conflict with this word, this word, this word. Therefore, I need to make an exception there. So Panini Shastra is divided as he creates a general rule and he creates an exception. So sometimes he calls it general and exception. Sometimes he defines there's exceptions first and he says sheshe. The example we see is Atmane pada and Parasmai pada. So here they would say, he would say Anudat Tangita Atmane padam and give you about 40 to 50 sutras. And after that, he says Sheshat Kartari Parasmai padam. He says whatever is left other than these, these rules are defined, those are all Parasmai padas. So that is his style of dividing things into sort of a binary way of coming back and say, okay, I defined this, whatever is, whatever words, that I did not define, they follow this particular style of, so that's his style. So Shabdanam Anushashanam. So he created this Anushasana. So why did he create? So if you say as so Kesham Shabdanam, that's another question you can ask. Like what kind of words? So he says Laukikanam, Vedikanam. So he's saying with this Shastra, you will be able to do Laukika Samskritam and Vedika Samskritam. You will be able to analyze every single word that in this thing. So where did this division came from Laukika Samskritam and Vaidika Samskritam? It came later on, when the Kaumudi Granthas and everything became, and people stopped studying this, that's when this division came. Okay, this is what we speak is a Laukika Samskritam, what is written in Veda is a Vaidika Samskritam. There is no Samskritam like that. The Samskritam is only one. What we have is, we cannot make any changes to the Vedas. We do not have the right, because it's a Veda, Devavani. It is, we do not have any right to change. Then what happens? So for example, whatever is in the Vedas, we can use in the Loka. But whatever is in the Loka cannot be used in the Veda. So that's how. So based on that, what happened is people say, oh, okay, the simple thing, Gach Balaha Pathashalam Gachati. So well, you will say, is Gachati part of Veda? Yes, it is. Would Balaha be part of Veda? Yeah, it is. So where does the division come? So it came later on for not clearly understanding what Sanskritam is and what the rules are. So once you understand this Panini rule, you will be able to see, like, okay, Sanskritam is only one. Vedika and the Laukika is depending on the basically semantics. Now let's take a look at this analogy, and I hope I'll make this a point, and people can appreciate after I say it. So we have a factory in a modern sense. Any factory you can take it. So we have raw materials coming in. And then what happens? We have a finished product going out, right? And then within the factory, you have administration, you have maintenance, you have legal department, you have production, and then you have quality control, and so on and so forth, and all these parts of the factory. What happens is the flow goes from raw materials to the finished product. Same analogy we can apply to Panini's work. It's a word factory. So word factory requires a dhatu, pratipadika, and then you get the shabdas like, pathaha, ramaha, patati, what the kriya pada you get, nama pada you get, and all that. And then he created these divisions where he gave the names, and he create adhikaras, he create atidesha, nishedha, paribhasha, and so many different these are called. But the thing, oh my bad. But the thing is, when we look at from our stand, we think patha is a dhatu. When we apply the pratyaya called ti, then we get a word in a vartamana kala, we get pathati. Same thing, if we apply another pratyaya, we get another form, like we get apathat, pathanti, whatever. Every dhatu pratyaya, when we add it, then we get a word. That is our way of thinking. But Panini, he reverse engineered the whole thing. He knew the entire Shabdarashi in front of him, and then he created these meta rules to divide them into Dhatu and Pratipadika. That is the marvelous thing. No human being could accomplish such a remarkable feat, like reverse engineering the entire Vedas, word by word, analyzing and giving them and condensing, like I showed you in a 84-page book that basically a 8-year-old can memorize. That is the genius of Panini. All right. So how did Panini accomplish this thing? So what he created is, he created a system called Anuvritti. What I mean by that Anuvritti is, so if you take an example, I'll give you a few sutras. So if you take the first sutra, it's called Upadhyayula Ach Anunasika It. So in Upadesha, in Panini's Adhyocharana, whatever the 6 granthas that I showed you in the beginning, he says anywhere the Anunasika means what, like, we already led all the vowels, but it has to be Anunasika. Anunasika means it has to be pronounced with a nasal sound. So when you, instead of saying A, if you say then it becomes Anunasika. If you say E, it's normal E, right? But if you say E, then it becomes Anunasika E. So he's saying anywhere in this entire Shastra, if he says anything as an Anunasika Ach, it becomes It. Okay, wonderful. Then what? Then he says Halantyam. Okay, last Hal becomes Hit. And then he goes on deciding. He goes on deciding other rules. What happens is, if you pay attention, I highlighted the word It. So for the next sutra, he would not say It. He would say Halantyam. The It automatically travels to the next one. And then to the next one, and to the next one. So because of doing it like that, what Panini did is, he eliminated the word It, repeating on every sutra. So here, if you look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sutras, he didn't have to say It, because he's defined this as an Anuvritti. Okay, wonderful. Then he says Upadesha. Then Upadesha should come onto the second one as well, or third one, fourth one. Would Upadesha, Ach, Anunasika, everything will come to the next sutra? That is the natural question. Then he created these rules which are very easy to understand. If a vibhakti is already in the sutra, similar vibhakti things generally do not make it to the next sutra. So Halantyam, if you say Saptami, Prathama, you can leave it. But Saptami, for example, Upadesha, how far that thing is going to travel, this Upadesha, until it finds another Saptami Vibhakti. So, na Vibhaktau Tusma. So, like that, he created these simple rules which are easy to understand. And then what happens is, he says, whatever I defined in above sutras as It, what happens? It says, Tasya Lopaha, those disappear. So imagine this is a small section. What he did is, all these sutras in which I'm defining as it just disappears. Okay, that's fine. Tasya lopaha. Then the question comes, what is lopa? Adarsanam lopaha. Then he created a sutra like that. So one time it was there, time it was not there, then it's an adarshanam. So when you write in an algebraic equation that we used to do in our school exercise, we cancel out few things, and some of the numbers from the first line to the second line we omitted, disappear, and all that, right? So that is adarshanam. That's how Panini did this anuvritti concept. With this anuvritti, he reduced the Ashtadhyayi Shastra like quite a bit, and more than anuvritti, he did something called adhikara. I think that's gonna come next. Adhikara is the same as anuvritti, but generally it goes on for hundreds of sutras, or sometimes it goes even down to for like 1,000 sutras or so. And then, so for example, pratyayaha. So now, if you pay attention, pratyayaha parascha. So it starts on the third adhyaya, it goes till the end of the fifth adhyaya. There are about 1,400 sutras in there. He is not going to say pratyaya parascha after every sutra, because he created as these two at the top of that, and then it is understood like, okay, all these sutras that are below this will get this pratyaya parascha as a adhikara, means they have the right to go in the. So it's like in a word fact, in a company, if you have like a safety engineer, he has a right to go to every department to analyze everything, right? Same thing, these sutras have the right to go in every sutras, and they will go there and sit. Then what happens? So for example, if you go down in the third chapter, more sutras down, he created a sutra called dhatoh. Dhatoh, what do you mean by dhatoh? It's like after dhatu. That is the sutra. Dhatoh. After dhatu what? Then the adhikara comes in. They say dhatoh paraha pratyaha dhatoh paraha. And he never defined any kriya pada. Kriya pada has to be brought in to complete the meaning. So now what happened? He simply wrote dhatoh, but the meaning expanded as pratyaha dhatoh paraha bhavati. That meaning he could simply convey based on this adhikara and anuvritti concept. Angasya, same way. He is not going to say angasya and all that. And then generally I said kriya pada is not given. So let's take a look. Then paribhasha. This is a very, very important concept. Atidesha and paribhasha is very important concept. So for example, here he says midair gunaha is a sutra. Okay. Then what happened? Jusicha and all these. So he created, I don't want to explain each one of them, just to give a flavor for it. What happens is, wherever guna happens, guna is a grammatical process to do, like, to convert, how's the best way I put it? I'll come back to the guna. So for example, like guna is like a word karya, a letter karya that is happening. And let's say what he did is he created all these sutras and put it in one block. But he did not specify where does the guna happen. He does not say where guna happens. He simply says midair gunaha. When mid anga is there, mid. So guna is like I. So E is there. E's guna would be, it becomes A. So it should become med. But he says, never mentioned where it should happen. Then the battle comes. So because guna, if you say ad guna, adeng guna, a, e, u, a, e, o are called guna. So a will say, mid will come and say, no, I'll change it to mad. And then o will come and say, no, I'll change this to mod. What is the deterministic rule that is going to say? So the Panini, what he did cleverly is, wherever I do not mention this, like where the guna should happen, it always happen in the place of ik. Again is a pratyahara he created on the very first sutra, is ion ril rik. So e u ril ri. So guna always happen in the place of. So a will never get guna. Only e will get guna. So those are called paribhasha sutras. They resolve the conflict when we have no clear guidance, like where it should happen, those paribhasha, there are like about, maybe like 60 paribhasha sutras or something. They govern the deterministic rule, like where some action should happen. I know it's all like, may feel like you're drinking from a fire hose, but stay with me, and then I'll conclude with a one example, and then we can understand with the example a little bit better. So Ashtadhyayi, how did he manage to condense the whole thing? Then this is the key. Sangya cha paribhasha cha vidhir niyameva cha atidesho adhikarascha shadvidham sutra lakshanam. So he created the Sangya, Paribhasha, Vidhi, Niyama, Atidesha, and Adhikara, 6 type of sutras. And then he created, basically condensed everything for a sort of a, in a very small text. And for that, there is a ukti in grammarians, Ardhamatra Laghavena Putrotsavam Manyante Vayakarana. Means if a Vayakarana, if he can save only half a matra, uttering half a matra, he gets the joy of having, a son or a daughter born in their family. So that's how it's treated. Like even a matra is treated like ardha matra is, if it is going in excess, they don't want to use it. That's what the Vayakarnas are. So here, for example, I was giving you, what happens is, so if you say, if you take a look at this example, every word in Sanskritam has a vibhakti, and that's why, general usage is, I wrote the usage, how it is needs to be interpreted. If you see a Shashti vibhakti, 99% of the time you can easily add sthane. So Shashti sthane yoga, there is a sutra. So you can add sthane. Shashti means if a word is in the Shashti form, then you can add in its place sthane, like that. Ikaha sthane. Ik is a, let's say, word. Ik is a pratyahara. That means i, u, ril, ri. In its place, that's how you can understand it. Ikaha sthane, like that. Saptami has a different meaning. It can be a Vishaya Saptami, it can be Para Saptami, or a Nibitta Saptami. Same thing with the Panchami, if it is, Uttarasya, like that. So Dhatoh, Panchami Vibhakti. Okay, it's coming as an Adhikar, Anuvritti. Vartamane lat, that's all he said. In Vartamana, lat, the sutra, meaning in Vartamana lat. In Vartamana lat, that doesn't say anything. So when you read a sutra that does not appear like a complete in its meaning, what you see is you try to find the words that you can bring into that sutra that define the meaning. That is the beauty of Anuvritti and Adhikara concept. Okay, Vartamane lat. In Vartamana lat. What happens then? We look at the dhatu. There is, few sutras above, maybe 30, 40 sutras above, there is a dhato word is sitting there. Okay, you bring that as a dhato. So dhato means uttarasya, Panchami. So we can add uttarasya. Dhato uttarasya vartamane lat. Okay. In vartamana kala, after dhatu, that is the meaning we got so far. Then what? Okay, dhatu, after dhatu, what? Then he completes it with, if you bring the adhikara, pratyaha parascha, then the whole meaning comes. So vartamana kale, vartamane arthe, vartamanat dhato paraha, lat pratyaya bhavati. That is the complete meaning. So by saying vartamane lat, he conveyed the entire meaning that is written in the last line. It becomes evident when you start, systematically learning the rules and all that. That was one example. Another example that I can give that explains beautifully is the condensation of, Panini's genius is ikaha, iko yanachi. We are all familiar with this one we might have used it many places. Ikaha is a Shashti vibhakti. Yan is a Prathama vibhakti. Achi is a Saptami vibhakti. Fine. When does it happen? So it's saying anuvritti coming is samhitayam. Samhita means what? When the letters have a close proximity, it is defined as samhita. Parasanikarsha samhita. He defined that as a samhita. Okay, beautiful. Samhita is there, ikaha is there, yan is there. What will we do? Then when you expand, ikaha, I said shashti will get a sthane. Ikaha sthane. That is the meaning of ikaha. Yan is a pratyahara. Achi is a saptami. Saptami means what? What kind of a saptami? Ikaha vishaye? No, doesn't make any sense. Ikaha paraha? If you add that as a paraha, it makes sense. So, ikaha varnasya sthane, samhitam vishaye, samhita is a saptami as well, right? Samhitayam is a saptami. Samhitayam vishaye, yan varnadeshaha bhavati. That entire meaning was conveyed with one sutra called ikoyanachi. Now, what does it mean? Ikaha. I said ikaha means e, u, ril, ri. These are the 4 letters. Yan, based on the Pratyahara Sutra, if I escape this and go back to, so ikaha. So if you look e, u, ril, ri. These are the 4 letters are called ik. Now let's look at the yan. Ya, va, ra, la. These are the 4 letters. So based on this simple sutra that Maharshi Panini created, like ikoyanachi, what he's trying to say, in place of e, u, ril, ri, you get as a replacement as ya, va, ra, la. 1-for-1 replacement, respectively. He could say small, in such a small format, he could present it because of these pratyaharas, 42 pratyaharas that he created. Now what happens? So he doesn't have to write a rule saying after E, if ach is there, after E there is a, then it becomes after u, if there is a something else, it becomes vakara. He doesn't have to say all like individual lines at a letter level. He grouped them into this pratyahara and he created a meta rule called ikoyanachi. In its x place, you get yan as a adesha. And then he defined the rule. When adesha comes, it is like an enemy, it replaces. Then he also created many things called agamas, where is like, num agama. So, for example, vadi. Vadi means to pray. So, what happens? Then it's a ikaranta dhatu. Then the num comes as an adama. It becomes a vand. That's what we say. Vande, 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 vande mataram. See, vand comes from the same thing. Vande means, again, if you pay little attention with this rule, the beauty is you don't have to say aham vande. Aham is already included in there. Vande mataram, it's aham vande. It's like the aham part he doesn't have to say. I prostrate, I pray, but I is already included whether you say it or not, and it also says in the grammar, in the grammatic rule. So like that. Then dhatu patha. Then he created these 10 dhatu pathas, 10 ganas within the dhatu patha that he divided. So when I mean by that is bhuadi means bhu adi. Like, so bhu adi should become bhuadi. It's called bhu adi. And then adadi. Ad is the first dhatu, at, atti and all that. Juhotyadi. And like that he created all these 10 ganas. What does it do? Because every dhatu that is in a gana behaves in a certain way, with the exception. So he always defines the exception, and then from that onwards, it becomes little bit easy. So this is how the dhatu part. So why did I highlight these red ones? The ones I highlighted red, they all behave more or less in the same way. I would say about 90+% behave in the same way. So I think I thought I had something else here, but yeah, I didn't. So anyway, so these dhatus, I highlighted these as red because they behave in a certain way. If you learn these one dhatu, you don't need to learn all of them. When you add these 4 dhatus, 4 the highlighted red ones, that comes about 2100 some dhatus or something like that. So the genius of, again, Panini is like, you learn one dhatu clearly, understand it, you got handle on about 90% of the dhatu patha, because you don't need to memorize every single one of them. So that's the Panini genius. And few things I wanted to show while it's there. It's a good site for anyone interested to check. Ashtadhyayi.com. These guys did a phenomenal job. If I can move this, move it away. Yep. So here, if you say here, where is that Sutra Patha? And if you come here, so here it is, Shiva Sutra, like that, the one I said, I don't really recall that. So they put Shiva Sutra and then Pratyahara. So these, see how, so instead of saying all these, you can simply say hush, and hush means these many words. And same way, when he says yai as a Pratyahara, then he creates a anuswara se yai parasavarnaha. So like that. So it's worth exploring. Sutra Patha, Dhatu Patha, Shabda Patha. And then I wanted to say Gana Patha. So Gana Patha, what he did is, see, this Sarva, Vishwa, Ubha, Ubhaya, Datara, Datama, they all behave in a certain way. And then, so he grouped them all and created them as, okay, these are all Sarvanamas. Like these are Swaradi, Nipatam, Avyayam. So these are all Nipatas. That means they fall under, many meanings. Then same way he said Chadi Gana also. And then he said, Pradi, Prapara, these are all Upasargas. So this is how the Ganapatha was divided. So he grouped the word together. Unadi Kosha is like, he creates a un, and this is a different pratyaya that gets joined to a dhatu to derive any kind of Shabda Rupa. So Unadi Kosha. And then the last one I wanted to say is Linganushashanam, where basically he gave deterministic rules on how the linga is determined and all that. So it's a very fascinating study. Like I said, 1 hour is little time to explore all that. I'm sure you have like overwhelming some say like, oh, what is this? But again, like I said, if you delve deep into it and spend some time, then you start like an onion. Basically, you peel it, and it's like where is it gonna end? And the more you learn, the more you peel, the more you start enjoying the structure of the Panini grammar. So with that, if you have any questions, I'll take it. Otherwise, I'll give the presentation back to the host.
Yeah, excellent. Excellent presentation, Anant garu.
Thank you.
Overwhelmed with your way of doing it. The great Shastram has been short, condensed to 1 hour lecture, just like a capsule of
Yeah, it is impossible to do condense
like
it
a
to 1 hour,
multivitamin
but at
capsule.
least I gave you enough to taste, and so then further exploration can be done.
Yeah,
That's
here
correct.
we have got some Vyakarana experts also. Some Vijay Kumar, somebody, Vijay Kumar sir is there.
Yeah.
So he would like to react and give us some guidelines to us. Welcome, Vijay Kumar garu. Would you like to share your views, please? Mahodaya, Bhavatah Kinchit Vijay Kumar अस्ति वा? Vijay Kumar Mahodaya, Bhavan अस्ति? Hari Om.
Hello.
Vijay Kumar garu unnara? Are you there?
Who is Vijay Kumar?
Vijay Kumar, Vyakarana expert, I called him. He came, actually joined once.
Okay, 1 minute. I will unmute everybody, then he can talk.
From Malkazgiri. Yeah, please unmute.
How do I change the view?
Vijay Kumar ji, are you there?
I'm not seeing his name now. I saw him in between.
हाँ जी.
विजय कुमार चिटिकुतोटी महोदय नमस्कार महोदय विजय कुमार चिटितोटी महोदय अद्य उपस्थितः इत्येवं सूचयति उपाध्यायुल अनन्तवर्यस्य महत्त्वं किमिति धन्यवादः महोदय भवतः कृते उपन्यासः कृते मम प्रश्नः एकः अस्ति Do you, for a person who is past 60 and who had completed who had acquired a basic knowledge of the grammar of Sanskrit by passing the 4 courses of Samskrita Bharati, do you suggest is acquiring knowledge of Panini Ashtadhyayi, or do you suggest, considering the age, he better utilize his Sanskrit knowledge into understanding the Hindu scriptures and spending the rest of the time? What is your suggestion?
This is my personal opinion, and I don't want to offend anybody, but without Panini, there is no Sanskritam. I'll give you one example, and hopefully I'll make the point. So everybody, for example, if you say Vishnu, 99% of the people will come back and say Vishnu is sitting in Vaikunta, sleeping on a snake, and floating in a milky ocean and all that, right? 99%, whether you know Sanskritam or not, that is the thing. But when you pay little attention to the Panini grammar and go through dhatu and pratyaya and all that, and pay this small attention, see how the meaning comes out. Vishalvi vyaptau is the dhatu. Then akve tatshila tadharma tatsadhu karishu is the sutra. From that, one that has the dharma as, one that has a quality as, one that has something, I forgot one more, that as defined from a certain pratyaya. From Vishalvi vyaptau dhatu, when you do that pratyaya and derive the word Vishnu, then what it means is one who has a quality spread, one who has a quality to win, one who has a quality to be everywhere. Just by drawing that word, its etymology, you don't see Vishnu like sleeping in a snake, sleeping on a snake bed somewhere. Because when you see sun rising, he pervades everywhere. Vyapti is the guna. The sun, as soon as he comes on the horizon, the Vyapti becomes its a inherent nature. Like that, so you can say, and then when you pick a Bhagavad Gita or something and he says Aditya Nama Aham Vishnu, then this Pratyaya, the meaning comes and gives you a completely new picture of what Vishnu is. So this is my favorite example I give, and let me see if I can quickly find I was gonna show this, but with the time in mind, I didn't say. If I couldn't find it, then I won't waste too much time. Haikriva Vishnu. No, I didn't find it. Okay. Sheila.
Vijay Kumar garu meeto maatladin nenu. Did I talk to you?
Hello. Sir, can you listen to me?
Yes, I can.
Yeah. See, the difficulty with Ashtadhyayi is, if somebody wants to learn the Sanskrit grammar through Ashtadhyayi, just to understand a Hal Sandhi or some few Sandhis, he has to complete all the Saptadhyayi and enter the Siddha Prakaranam. Many people cannot wait for so much time to learn the small Sandhi. Maybe this is the reason why people like to go through the Siddhanta Kaumudi. Might be one of the reasons.
Agreed. That is there, but again, prakriya is not to be understood. Okay, I understood Hal Sandhi, because what happens is you miss out on a greater detail. The reason Kaumudi is little bit confusing is, for example, people who study Kaumudi, if you say, I memorized Kaumudi many sutras, like, Eshamantya itaha, hakaradi, akaraha, ucharanarthaha, Eshamantya itaha, and then, what is that called?
Hakara
Hal-
shakara uchyarantaha.
Hakaradi, hakaradi, akara, ucharanartha. These are all vartikas. So the thing is, there is no logic. But but if you learn, there is other way of either learning through the Panini grammar, or there is a new teacher. I think in the modern times, Dr. Pushpa Dikshit. She wrote wonderful books. If you go through her way of system, the thing is, we cannot just confine ourselves to the Sandhi rules. And Sandhi rules is a very small thing. If you learn that as a one whole unit, it's very easy to learn. But so the thing is, we have 2000 dhatus.
Yes.
Dhatu can have 18 forms. 9 plus 10 lakaras makes it like 180 forms. So you cannot go by the method of this Kaumudi method and say, okay, I'll learn the Rama Shabda, I'll derive the Rama Shabda. Rama Shabda is not going to get you anywhere, right? So because the meta rules you have to pick from here, from there, the guna happens, the vriddhi happens, the lopa happens. So it's very confusing for Kaumudi to go word by word, because that's why the analogy that our teachers gave is, when mother goes into kitchen, first thing she does is, I'm going to cook this. She makes that decision in her mind. And then from that onwards, she knows where to pick the rice from, where to pick the vegetable from, and all that. Why? Because she knows the entire kitchen, as like the map is in her head. When you have these small prakaranas, Itsangya prakarana is right there, okay, I'm going to apply these. Once you learn these prakarana ways, and where you don't hung up on the prakriya, things starts showing up like, oh, it makes sense. Because the thing is, if you learned how to make one word, like, I was giving an example, bhagaha. Bhagaha is an example. So if you learn bhagaha, then you will, so from Ranj Dhatu, you can make ragaha, from Ramu Dhatu, you can make ramaha, and then the world just opens up for you. So that's my personal belief. If you understand the structure, it's much easier for you at a later, the payoff is much higher if you stay with the Panini for a year or two. And the many acharyas did excellent work. If you want to read the books of Brahmadatta Jigyasuji, he wrote a beautiful book called Learning Ashtadhyayi. And for a gentleman who said, I'm 60 years old, I'm not any younger. I'm just 10 years behind you, but I'm doing it. So if I can do it, you can do it too.
We have a wonderful book of Sudarshan Acharya also.
Sudarshan, yes, Sudarshan Acharya. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's Ashtadhyayi Pravachana by Sudarshan Acharya. It's a
Wonderful
6-volume book.
I
It's
love
amazing book. Amazing book.
I love it actually.
Yeah, so it's people should keep these books and refer to it all the time. And so I was saying, Brahmadatta Jigyasu, he created, I think, a tested method of learning Sanskritam in 6 months, or I forgot the whole name. Maybe I can quickly find what's exotic India.
And even somebody has the patience. Aryan Sharma books are very good. There is 6 volumes of Aryan Sharma. But sir, can you suggest, if somebody wants to learn Ashtadhyayi, what is the better way to go? Which book they should start? A layman just wants to start Ashtadhyayi, and how he should proceed. That's
why I say Pandit Brahmadatta Jigyasu's book.
Yeah, 3 volumes.
3 volumes. Yeah, that is. How can I find?
Okay. But somebody doesn't know Hindi then?
No, he created Yudhishthir Mimamsaka or Pandit.
Yudhishthir Mimamsaka wrote Mahabhashya.
Jigyasu.
He said Mahabhashya in Hindi is available.
Pandit books. He created Saraltam Vidhi.
Mm.
This is the one.
Saraltam,
Saraltam
that is
Vidhi
very
is in
small
Hindi.
book. That
There
will
is
not
an
help much.
English version for this one as well.
No, that is in all the languages. Telugu is there, English is there, Hindi is there. I have Telugu version also.
Right? I have a Telugu version of Saraltam
I
Vidhi.
have
If
Telugu,
anybody is
English, and
interested.
three versions I have.
Yes.
But that is
So
right the way you taught. That, I mean, honestly, that is the way you taught. Very fast and very simple way.
I think what happens is I was a Kaumudi student for about 3 years.
Mm.
What I could not understand is this Vartika business. Halantyam, for example, like, Eshamantya itaha. So it's like, where did all these words come from? That was what driving me crazy. Then somebody told me that the teacher I was learning from, oh, these are anuvrittis, you just have to memorize it. So it's like, first I have to memorize the sutra, then I have to memorize the anuvritti, then I have to memorize the vartika. Then what is the point of it? I mean, if I can memorize this much to get,
Yes.
small part, then I might as well memorize the entire Ashtadhyayi.
True.
So if memorization is the key, and then the thing is, once you develop certain vocabulary in your head. So for example, I was saying upadha, for example, alontyat purva upadha, the sutra always comes to your mind. Okay. Then if you say, what is that? I'm forgetting the example that I wanted to give. Shashti Prathama nirdishtam samasa upasarjanam. Prathama nirdishtam samasa upasarjanam. Is a sutra. There is a sutra like that. Prathama nirdishtam samasa upasarjanam. So whatever you defined as a, prathama nirdishta, then what will you do with this upasarjanam? What is it? Then the next sutra automatically comes to your mind. Upasarjanam purvam. Whatever you defined as upasarjana, you have to put in the front.
Yes.
So the thing is, like I said, if these words roll in your head a little bit, then the sutra automatically comes to you. You don't need to memorize the anuvritti. That was my thing. So I was able to, anuvritti concept is okay. But the moment it started making sense to me is like, I don't have to memorize it. If I know Ashtadhyayi, I know exactly. Adhikara is like, okay, what is Adhikara? Swaritena Adhikara. So in the olden days, Ashtadhyayi used to be recited Saswara. So wherever they use the word Swarita, it used to become Adhikara. Now Saswara Patha is gone. So you have to learn from teachers saying, oh, this is Adhikara, this is Adhikara. Otherwise, you can say Pratyaha Parascha. By the Swaram itself, you can say this is Adhikara. It's going to go everywhere. Angasya, everywhere it will go. Padasya, Adhikara. These are all like, the words. If he said it in a elevated, swara, then they will know. Anudatangita Atmane Padam. Like, the Padanarnaya is there. How are we going to know whether it's a Atmane Pada or a Parasmai Pada? They are saying Anudatta. If it is said in Anudatta and it is a Ngita, Nga is as he defined as it. These two will become Atmane Pada, rest of all Parasmai Pada. So just a simple, like, little bit knowledge, it's like honey, once you taste it, you want more of it.
That way, I
But
think
the thing is,
but
to get to that enjoying the taste part, you have to cross that hurdle. And for that, the best books that I wish I read, when I started, instead of wasting my few years initially on Kaumudi, I wish I read Brahmadatta Jigyasu's book. That opened so many doors for me. Then there are so many acharyas that you can find. There are YouTube videos. People who know Hindi, they are a little bit fortunate because in the south, the Ashtadhyayi Prakarana, Ashtadhyayi teaching is little bit less. There are more geared toward Kaumudi. Because in the north, there are still some acharyas. They still stick to the traditional way of teaching. And the first thing, if you request them, can you teach me Ashtadhyayi? They say first memorize and come. Because they don't want to sit there and trying to explain it to you, like, do this, do that. If you have the sutra in your head, he will simply say Adhikara comes from there. He doesn't want student to go, okay, oh, this is Adhikara, let me see. He doesn't want that thing to happen. He say, okay, Samhitayam, okay, it's in 6th chapter, and there is also Samhitayam in the 8th chapter.
yes, there are
That
three
level of,
Samhitayas.
Yeah, so Samhita is there. And then the thing comes really distant. I don't want, and this is my notion again, I don't want to offend anybody. If you know a little Sanskritam and you know a little bit, then what happens is you go to Ramayana is okay. You can read Ramayana, you can read Bhagavatam, these are historical books, you're fine. What saddens me and pains me is people with little bit Sanskritam grammar jump directly to understand, analyze Veda. How? You need to able to do the swara. Swara prakarana has to be completely digested by you, and then you need to be able to say, Panini used Chandasi Bahulam 14 times.
Yes.
In the Shastra, he used this sutra called Chandasi Bahulam, saying whatever
Yes.
rules I'm applying here may apply, may not apply in Chandas. Chandas means
Yes.
Vedas. So he says I'm defining these rules, but in the Veda it can behave differently. If you did not know Chandasi Bahulam related to one sutra, how will you explain the meaning of Veda? And if you explain it, what is the validity of that explanation? Who is going to validate it? So then we perpetually create this, I call it very brutally, like perpetually, we perpetually perpetuate the ignorance. So that's how, for my thing is, the traditional method is the best. When you have younger kids, grandkids, teach them Ashtadhyayi, let them memorize it without discrimination. They have ton of memory, they can memorize. My daughter, when she was 3 years old, she could recite the entire Prathama Pada of Ashtadhyayi. So because she did not know any meaning. She would simply say, Vriddhiradayi Chadeng Gunaha, Iko Guna Vriddhi, Nadhatu Lopa, Ardhadhatu Ke. She was just simply saying like that. When she started slowly, then I started telling her, okay, this is what Ardha Dhatuka means. This is what Sarva Dhatuka means. Tingshit Sarva Dhatukam. When I tell her, when a thing is there, these 18 pratyas are called thing, tipta sheet. All the dhatu forms are derived from using these 18 pratyas. Then she understands, oh, Tingshit Sarva Dhatukam. Then what is shit? Any word in which Shakara became it called shit. These are the two things are Sarva Dhatuka. Everything else is Ardha Dhatuka. Then that binary division in her mind is simply explodes, like, oh yeah, this makes sense, that makes sense, because she has acquired that vocabulary. So that's why I said, even though it is hard, in my opinion, it's like, even if I can't make any contribution, I can translate, I can write any books, any kind, anything, that's fine. The thing is, whatever I'm learning it correct. That's my belief. So
then
that's my belief. So I said, okay, I need to learn this proper way, the correct way, and then go about it. Wherever the journey takes, it's a journey. It will take. But that's when I simply said, no, I put a తెలుగులో చెప్పాలంటే కౌముది శాస్త్రాలకి దండం పెట్టేసాను, ఇంక నా వల్ల కాదు. ఏంటంటే
when you suggest Ashtadhyayi, what are?
Ashtadhyayi, yeah.
Of
Dhatu
Kaumudi
is good. And for this
Pushpa
audience,
Dikshit.
I would
No, I am
suggest is,
telling Pushpa Dikshit Ashtadhyayi and Pushpa Dikshit Dhatu Pata.
I was telling that in the modern times, Dr. Pushpa Dikshit, she has a YouTube channel. She teaches in Hindi, I understand. People who do not know Hindi, they can make an effort. She's not doing any sort of hard Hindi, like a Grandhika Hindi. While listening to 2-3 talks of her, people will start understanding, like Dr. She is amazing teacher, 82 years old. Her energy levels, like, I hope I can be that activated when, that active when I'm 82 years old. But her knowledge is just mind boggling. And her method is really wonderful. And I tried it on my daughter. She's 11 years old. She understands it. The grammatic rules, she understands it. If I question her, she can interpret. So if an 11-year-old can do this, I'm sure we are all seen life and things. So Dr. Pushpa Dikshit method is wonderful. You can follow her YouTube channel. She wrote the books in Hindi and in Sanskritam. I think she is calling in Navya Siddhanta Kaumudi. I think they are on the print. You can read that.
Sir,
But
fortunately,
for
I have
people,
each and every book of Pushpa Dikshit in my house.
Yeah, me too.
100%.
I have the right there, and the whole
I have all
basement
the
is
books.
full of. If I see a grammarian, I just get it. I even have Sudarshan Dev Acharya's 6th volume. I had the digital copy, I went and bought 2 sets, one for me and one for my friend in California. When I
But they're
looked
not
at that
available.
book, I literally felt like crying because it's such a it's like the gem, the most precious thing you can hold in your hand. And
But
that thing
where,
had like yellow pages. The binding was like,
but
falling
where did you
apart.
get
And
those printed books?
I think I don't remember. I called like the Ramlal Kapoor Trust or somebody. I called them and
No, but they don't have.
yeah, they don't. But at that time, when I called them, they had it. I bought them, I think 6 years ago. I just had it shipped it to my father-in-law's house. And last time when I went to India, I brought all those books back.
I purchased Mahabhashyam from Ramlal.
Yeah, Mahabhashyam. Yeah, I have those Mahabhashyam and all that. Yeah, I have that too. So,
Yes. Nice, sir.
anyway,
Nice to
so
Hari Om.
Thank you very much.
So
yeah,
thank you
you're
very much,
welcome.
Vijay Kumar Garu, for excellent interaction on Ashtadhyayi and other Vyakaranam Granthas. So it's very education to all other members of the group. So anybody else would like to react on these things with the speaker?
Yes,
Anant
sir.
Kumar ji.
Ananta Upadhyayula Mahodaya Namaskara.
Sir, sir, Mama Nama Ananta Padmanabha Sharma. Sir,
Bharat
Namaskar.
Mahodaya.
Ultimately, I would like to have a nice book what he suggests for learning Sanskrit. He was referring actually in between somebody has intruded. He was actually suggesting some book. Within 6 months, one can learn Sanskrit in a beautiful way. That's what our present speaker was saying. I would like to hear that book and the author and how we can procure it. I sent a message also to him directly. I would like to know, sir, through Prabhakar, sir.
Yeah, Anand ji, he was asking the book name, which you mentioned in between. That Sarala, something you have to mention, no? To start in Hindi, you said that is there. Anand ji,
I think
you mentioned a book name. Yeah. Is this the book you are talking about? Hari Om.
Yeah,
No.
maybe, sir. It is for learning Sanskrit, no?
Yeah, these were learning Sanskrit. Is
Yeah,
this the
yeah.
book you are referring to?
Some Brahmadatta Jijnasu, something he told.
Yeah,
Actually,
Brahmadatta
we want to
Jijnasu.
get clarification from him whether this is the book. I think
Yeah,
he
that's
has
what
left.
he's saying.
Yeah. He has suggested this book, sir.
Anant ji, please react. Anant garu maatadandi. Anant garu maatadandi. He is asking some question. Ananta Padmanabha is asking some question. Are you hearing me, Anant ji?
no, we cannot hear him actually.
Yeah, are you hearing
Okay,
me,
hold
Anant
on.
ji?
Hold on a second.
Yeah, I'm hearing you now.
Okay, you can hear me now? That's good.
Yeah,
Because
yes.
I don't know, my headphone got connected or something. So,
Yeah. Now
yeah,
we
this is the
now
book
we
I
can
was
hear.
telling.
Is
Brahmadatta
this
Jijnasu.
the book you are talking about?
Yes, yes.
This is the beginning book we should start.
Yes, if you want to learn the structure of a Panini grammar, yes.
Yeah, then you are talking about Pushpa Dikshit.
Pushpa Dikshit is there. Her YouTube channel, I'll put it on the link. People should can watch.
Okay, that is also a good book, even. That good video.
Yeah, her works are really good as well.
Good introduction. Okay.
So here it is, Dr. Pushpa Dikshit.
Okay. Very good.
గురువు గారు నేను లింక్ పెట్టాను ఇక్కడ
ఎవరిది పుష్ప దీక్షిత్
పుష్పా దీక్షిత్ గారిది డాక్టర్ పుష్పా దీక్షిత్ అనంత్
Okay.
గారు ఇస్ ఇట్ ద సేమ్ వన్
Could be.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else would like to react on this? Anant Kumar garu. Anand Kumar.
Yes, I want to. మీరు స్క్రీన్ మీద ఎవరు షేర్ చేస్తున్నారు?
నేనేనండి.
You can kindly.
అనంత్ గారు షేర్ చేస్తున్నారు.
Okay.
నేనే స్టాప్ చేసేయాలా అయితే?
Okay. Better. I think the use of that is not there anymore.
Okay.
The people have took note of that. Okay. Astu. I'll take 5-6 minutes. Anantji, भवतः संस्कृत प्रवचनं तु अत्युत्तमम् अस्ति, सम्यक् अस्ति. मुख्यतया मादृश जनानां प्रति एतत्तु కళ్ళు తెరిపించే విషయంలాగా ఉంది. ఇట్ ఈస్ ఎ వెరీ గుడ్ ఐ ఓపెనర్. किन्तु अत्र एकः प्रश्नः अस्ति, अहं प्रष्टुमिच्छामि. संस्कृतं देवभाषा, अस्माकं भाषा अस्तु, सम्यक् एव. अष्टाध्यायी अपि अत्युत्तमपुस्तकमस्ति, अस्तु. किन्तु मम संशयः तु सम्भाषणविषये. अत्र संस्कृतभारती इति संस्था अस्ति. संस्कृतभारती आभारतं जनाः संस्कृतमाध्यमे सम्भाषणं कुर्युः इति प्रयत्नरता अस्ति संस्कृतभारती. In that context, what is your advice? Because if we start talking about grammar, Ashtadhyayi and all that, people are getting scared and they are just going away from Sanskrit. And
Correct.
they are under the impression that, oh, learning Sanskrit, it takes at least 10 years.
Correct.
That
I think
is
this is, yeah,
so
this is the,
how to dispense, like, I mean, how to encourage people to come forward, because what Samskrita Bharati is doing is actually what I am doing, what Asmakam Akalla Prabhakar Rao Mahodaya api karoti, Dasadina Sambhashana Sibiram, start speaking in Sanskrit in 10 days of learning. That is what Samskrita Bharati did for completely simplifying Sanskrit. Ashtadhyayi and all those, even Siddhanta Kaumudi, Laghu Siddhanta Kaumudi, whatever, all those granthas, of course, they are the main ones. We have to respect them. And we chant whatever you said, I mean, Vakyakaram, Bararuchim, we do that also. But then, what about this? How can
So-
we the entire world speak in Sanskrit?
correct. So it's a egg or chicken kind of a dilemma. So the best way I can say is, energy should not be focused one way or the other. It cannot say, okay, as long as my personal opinion and what I have seen, as long as people are not building a silo around themselves, I can speak in Sanskritam. I'm a scholar. I have seen people saying, they can speak Sanskritam. They say, oh, what is this? Oh man, I'm forgetting the mantra. Gayatri mantra. It's not a big deal. I can analyze all those things very simply. Really? You can analyze Gayatri mantra just with the knowledge that you have? So as long as people don't build that silo ego saying, I can do anything. I have read Shastras. As long as we are not cultivating that kind of thing, we are okay. And like I said, they should complement each other. They should not collide with each other. And the other thing that is like, what I have seen is Panini defined these 10 lakaras, in which there is one Vartamana Kala, there are 3 past tenses, 2 future tenses, 4 moods. We are not covering all those things on the name of getting to the, to speak everybody to speak Sanskritam. So now what happens is, you already, some places I have seen, they reduced it to 5 lakaras only. What happens when the other lakara comes? So I'm okay with, like you said, we should encourage, but at the same time, we should say, okay, our ultimate goal is this. This is the first step. But I hope, like I said, after today's presentation, I hope I gave you the taste of, nectar, taste of honey, and then you have the enough, passion to explore, to learn more and all that. Yeah. If we can cultivate that, that is good. Without that, just, speaking Sanskritam is good. What's going to happen is, like all other languages evolved from Mother Sanskritam, like, we will create a new language which is close to Sanskritam, but we can call it and make ourselves happy saying, okay, we learned Sanskritam. That'll be the, one of my, from experience is, design guarantees destiny. If the design is to learn only 5 lakaras, if the design is only to focus on emphasis on speaking without knowing the roots, then eventually we will get to a point, we will create a new Sanskritam that has nothing to do with what Panini Maharshi wrote. That is how I see it. So speaking is good, one side is good. We should encourage, as much as possible, we should conduct Shibiram. At the same time, we should say, okay, we got you initiated into this. There is more. We hope you continue and pursue these things. Because even when Siddhanta Kaumudi was written, they say Paniniyam Pravesharthaya. They wrote it to get into Panini, they created this Siddhanta Kaumudi. So our effort should be like, without Panini, there is no Samskritam.
No,
That's it.
sir, actually, I respect
Sir, can I react?
whatever you said. I fully respect it. But take the case of Telugu language, for example.
Yeah.
People speak Telugu language, people speak English language, people speak Hindi language. Do
Correct.
they speak all the lakaras in all the languages? No.
They don't need.
So now my only point, of course, not only mine, even Samskrita Bharati and our Pandits also, their
Yeah.
only objective is, if we put these kind of limitations, people will never learn Sanskrit. So the objective of spreading this mother of all the languages across the globe, across the world, will be defeated.
Yeah, you're right. Anand Kumarji, let me interfere. Your ideas are correct. That's what is Anant also is agreeing with that. What he wants to say is, don't develop, you publicize in that way. Well, Samskrit what is doing an excellent job. They are doing it, and they are making the people coming to the field of the ground. They are bringing the people to the ground, and they should not develop ahankar. That's what he says.
Correct.
That I know everything.
The silos are the worst.
Once you know the bit of Sanskritam, and because you could speak something and you could make some sentences, that doesn't mean you can analyze any slokam in the Vedas.
True.
That is what that ahankaram people should not develop, that he says.
Yeah.
The way the job Samskrita Bharati is doing is an excellent job they are doing, and they are bringing the people into the field of Sanskritam. It's a great job.
Coming to Anand Kumar Garu's point, like, people speak Sanskritam. People speak Telugu. Are they speaking all lakaras? Telugu degenerated to a point where they don't even know what Achulu means. They say Achulu means vowel. They don't know it came from Panini. Achulu, Allulu. Where the word Achulu and Allulu come from? I showed you the Pratyahara Sutra just now.
Anantji, when I studied...
Based on that, Achulu and Allulu came. So we forgot. You take Telugu history for probably, I'll put a historian, but I'll put, say, let's say 1500 years. Let's say the history of 1500 to 2000 years of Telugu history is there. 1500 to 2000 years, and we forgot that Achulu came from Panini.
Yes.
So if we keep perpetuating if every generation keeps eliminating little by little bit, what will be left after 1,000 years? What will be left? Nothing.
When I studied Telugu, it was there.
Yeah.
It was there. We were taught the Tasam Parichedam, Achika Parichedam. We read like that.
Yeah.
But the later part of the people, they started eliminating from the education system these things.
Yeah. So I'll give you a North Indian example, for example. Ganga, right? Kakha Gaga Nga has to be used. Kakha Gaga Nga. That is the Nga in Ganga. They started putting a dot. If you put a dot on top of Ga, it becomes Gam. It's not Gamga, it's Ganga. Pancha. Nya has to be used for Pancha. Pancha is gone. Like, it became Pami to Sukhabeta.
They are being taught in Sanskritam. In Samskrita Bharati also they are teaching that.
Yeah.
Some important Sanskrit, Anantji, let me just interfere. Samskrita Bharati is not spoiling the system of
No. I never said that. No.
The Samskrita Bharati is introducing the required things.
Correct.
To a common man.
Correct.
So like that, this Anuswara Nemas and all those things were introduced in the first itself, the beginning stage itself, so that they don't pronounce wrongly. So that has been introduced in the Pravesikal well itself. And they over a period of, by the time they go to Kovida, they have been introduced to other things. She, Karoshi, and all those things. And then Nakaram, Ramena, and all those things, they started telling in fourth fourth level. So
Yeah.
by the time they complete Kovida, people get interested how to learn more, how to
Correct.
make me more
That's
clarity
the
on
key.
this.
That's the key.
That
I
type
Sir,
of
shall I
interest
put
they
one
are created by the time of they complete the Kovida. So
Correct.
that's why I suggest to all my students, once you complete Kovida, you start learning Panini under a good teacher, so that you will be a good Pandit in Sanskrit. But don't think
the
of
thing is,
Panini at the level of 60 years to start learning with 60 years at Panini.
so
That's not a correct
so what
practice.
happened is, people think like Panini means, oh, you have to derive the Ramaha, you have to bring a Pradipadika called Rama and put a Supratyaya and then Ramaha comes. That's the wrong way to look at it. What you look at it is, Ramaha is there. Ramayana, when you read it, you will read Ramaha. Vedas, when you read, you see verbs and letters and everything. What is the root word? You learn, you say, oh, because of these, this is how the word was formed. Then your mind opens up and say, okay, if I can create Ramaha, what are the other things that I can create? Then you naturally become more interested in the linguistic aspect of it. So yeah, anyway, it's a like I said, it's a double-edged sword. You walk one way, you slice yourself, or you walk the other way, you do the same thing.
Sir, shall I say one word?
But my point is, like,
Vijay Kumarji,
See,
please.
sir, there are two schools actually in Sanskrit. The first
Correct.
school is you just speak in Sanskrit, that is sufficient. Don't go beyond that.
Correct.
This was in fact started by Sri Kasi Krishnacharya long back through his Balabodhini 3 books. It's not a new thing.
Correct.
You can learn and you can speak in Sanskrit within 30 days or 40 days if you follow the Balabodhini, and you need not know the grammar at all. Zero grammar. So this is started long back. The same thing Samskrita Bharati is also doing. As you rightly said, in Telugu, now we forgot Ruru, Lulu, Dadjacha, Tadavicha, everything gone.
Yeah.
So things are happening. Like the 5 lakaras have gone already. No, nobody knows Lung also. There is no need to learn Lung.
Yeah, Lung is the hardest.
And then Pushpadhyayyi, they conduct a contest in Lung contest every year.
Correct.
Every year the special contest there for Lung only.
Even 10-year-olds can say it. Lung, all the Lung Lakara forms.
So now you had learned whether you want to speak Sanskrit or you want to learn Sanskrit. Both are different aspects.
Correct.
So
And that's why I said they should complement each other. They should not conflict with each
other. So don't mix both the issues.
Yeah.
Because I have at least 20-30 students who have passed Kovida, but they're struggling to learn the Ashtadhyayi.
Yeah.
Yes.
That I can grandly say. After passing Kovida, they are not following Ashtadhyayi.
Yeah. I mean, it happens. So for the same thing, if you go through the Kaumudi or anything.
The problem is they must be senior people who could not by heart the sutras.
Yes.
That is the main problem.
The thing
because
is,
they're all above 40s, 50s, 60s like that, whose mind is totally filled up with so many other
things. If you know the essence of sutra, the by heart comes automatically. You need not by heart. It comes automatic.
That's what I was saying. Correct.
Only thing is
you don't need to by heart the sutra.
I'm telling very openly, bring anybody, I can make them to by heart.
It's like this. Consider this Panini's, let's say it's like a marathon. Okay. If you look at any Panini grammar, for example, anybody coming in and giving a pravachana is speaking like fluent Sanskritam, explaining every meaning left and right and all that and great things. And it's like, oh, wow, he learned Panini, he could do that. Then we look at it as, okay, I'm going to do it. And same thing, what happens? If you look at a marathon runner and then start running, what will happen? After quarter mile, you will get tired and say, oh my God, it's not my cup of coffee, and then you just leave it. But you say, okay, it's a marathon running. I'm going to take one step at a time. I'm going to run quarter mile. I'm going to then bump it to half a mile. Then eventually you get to a momentum where you basically will be able to run a marathon. Same thing with, you just have to cross the threshold. There's nothing you can do. You need to have certain vocabulary. You need to have certain basic structure of, how he used the vibhaktis cleverly. Like I showed you today. Once you get that point, then the joy of learning itself will propel you to complete the Ashtadhyayi.
Okay.
But until that threshold, everybody has to get that threshold. Nobody can teach them.
Anant Mahodaya.
So once you said that,
my only concern here is agreed, but then how English has gone to the entire world. Can Sanskrit go like that with Ashtadhyayi reading? At least we have to like push through and then let everybody speak one sentence in Sanskrit.
Okay,
That is what I am saying.
I
So
understand. Okay.
now, for example, had everybody has to learn Bala Vyakaranam,
Yeah.
will Telugu stay there? Telugu has stayed there because people are speaking it.
Correct.
So
Agreed.
people, entire world should speak Sanskrit. Okay, like I mean, after finishing the Kovida, if you are interested, you go and start learning your Ashtadhyayi and whatever it is.
Yeah.
But at least let the, like I mean, Sanskrit flow.
Again, what I'm saying is they should complement each other, not conflict each other.
Yeah.
Let's say I'm learning Mama Nama Anantaha, Aham Abhiyanta, Aham Hassan Nagare Nivasami. What is this learning has to do with my Panini learning?
Nothing.
Both are two separate chambers.
Yes.
They are not at a fight with each other. So just
Exactly.
because you learn to say a few sentences in Sanskritam does not stop you from explaining, okay, where did this patati come from? Oh, it's the thing pratyaya, the tip. Because, so okay, patati, patata, patanti, patasi, patata, patasa. Why did it become patami? That curiosity come in my mind, right? Why the
Yes.
ami come here where everywhere says ti, ti, ti? Like that. So
Yeah,
if that
Anantji,
curiosity is not there, then there is no point. Okay, everybody will be say, okay, how Bhavan kim karoti? Okay, kim karoti? Kalakshepam karoti. That's it.
yeah,
In-
the speaking
So-
is like using a mixie,
Hello.
and the Panini is like making the mixie.
Panini is the word factory.
Yes,
You,
exactly.
you should have the zeal. You should have. For me, I grew up. I'm a Telugu speaking. I'm a native Telugu speaker, but I grew up in the North India, so I have a Hindi background. I studied everything in Hindi. Then I learned English. Then I came to America and started learning Sanskritam. So language has always been a fascinating subject for me. So I am naturally gravitated towards where did this come from? So that in the inquisitive knowledge is there from very childhood, because every language I was working in Bombay, so I learned Marathi. I was working in Gujarat, so I can understand a decent chunk of Gujarati. Why? Because I have that inquisitive knowledge saying, what does this word mean? How does it relate to Hindi? Where does it come from Sanskritam? If that is not there, then yeah, you will say few words, few sentences, okay, then after that, then what? Then that interest will not come. The whole point I was trying to say through this presentation, I was trying to convey is, look at the structure, look at the beauty. For example, if you take, so if you say Dasharatha's son, Dasharathi, right? So when, okay, you understood Dasharatha's son, Dasharathi, you memorized it, fine. What happens when if it is Sumitra's son? It becomes Saumitri. Janaka's son becomes Janaki, right? Drona's, then will you say, okay, what will be Drona? Dronacharya has a son too. What will Dronacharya's son be? He will become Drauni. So naturally, if you understand this apatyam, tasyapatyam rule and you play with one example, then suddenly you say, oh, this is how it is. One favorite example that I give is, my last name is Upadhyayula. My Gotram is Panini. Not sorry, Panini. My Gotram is Kaundinya. So everybody says Kaundinya Gotrasya, Kaundinya Sagotrasya. Funny thing is, we say Kaundinya Sagotra. It's not Kaundinya Sagot, it is Kaundinya Sagotra. So where does Kaundinya become? So I became naturally interested. Okay, Kaundina. So there was a name, Maharshi called Kundin. Kundinasya Patyam. Kundina's grandson and everybody in the lineage are called Kaundinya. So somebody has a name like Bharadwaja, then they should know Bharadwaja is the original guy that became Bharadwaja. So like that, you won't know that by speaking Sanskritam. I'm not belittling, but like I said, they should not conflict with each other. They should complement each other. Once you
No.
learn few things, then you should have the inquisitive mind to go and look for, look at Gotras,
Yeah, here I would like to clarify one more point, Anantji. The speaking Sanskritam is one section of the Sanskrita Bharati, and these four levels are the second section. The
Correct.
Pravesha, Parichaya, Shiksha, and Kovida.
Yeah.
This the point what you are talking about Sadhitantas have been introduced at Kovida level. Yeah, at Kavita level, they have been introduced and an introduction has been given. And a caution also has been given. Please don't formulate yourself because there are certain rules as per the Grantha Vyakaranakata.
Yeah.
So don't form yourself, but understand how Dasarthi has come, how Vasudeva has come, how Gargi has come,
Yeah.
how Aindri has come. Like that, you understand those things. That is the only thing they have introduced there. And at the same time, they have given a caution there in the book. Please don't formulate yourself. You are
Yeah.
not allowed to do it because there are certain variations in this. You should know that
Correct.
by
Agreed. Agreed.
So don't get the impression that I know everything and start forming yourself.
Yeah.
Asirdi Samitri like that. Don't do that.
Yeah, you can't form,
Yeah.
but the thing is, same way, like, what I was saying is, it's a taste, but after that, his journey is yours. Like, how far you want to go. And same thing, Samskrit Bharati is doing a wonderful job. I mean, I was involved with, 10 years ago, and then there was not enough infrastructure. There were not enough people where I live. So I never formed the group to work on my speaking skills in Sanskritam. If everybody speaks, I can understand everything, but I still have that inhibition of speaking in Sanskritam. But then my interest morphed into exploring the words. For example, Indra is there. Indra, what we say is, if you take the Ramayana context, he is like, most jealous person and all that and all. So if you, let's say Indra, if that's where your knowledge stopped, what is the point of learning, speaking or learning in that? That is my opinion. Indra, if you go a little bit back and find, Idi Paramaishwarye, one who has like Aparamaina Ishwarya unnavadni Indra antar. Who is Indra then? Then you can say Vishnu is Indra, Shiva is Indra. Then that the philosophical morphing also happens in you when you find the basic words. That's why I said first step is no doubt get some knowledge, something. Okay, these are the structure. Get the Panini Siksha. Phonetics are correct. For example, I have seen this in North and South. North లోని శాశాసాన్ చంపేస్తారు. దే అన్ని టువర్డ్ సముద్రంలో సా. సౌత్ లోని అన్ని సముద్రంలో సా, నార్త్ లో అన్ని విష్ణులో షా. ఈ మిడిల్ గ్రౌండ్ లేదు. బట్ దెర్ ఆర్ 3 థింగ్స్. షా శంకర్లో షా, సముద్రంలో సా, విష్ణు ఆ షకారం ఆ మౌత్ ఫామ్ అలా చేయ. నోబడి లర్న్స్ ఇట్. హిందీలో వచ్చి చంపి పారేశారు నార్త్ లోని. ఫల 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 కర్మ ఫల ఫా అనేది లేదు సంస్కృతంలో. అది దంతవర్ణం కాదు.
It is not fa, it is pa. Pa. You have to close the lips. Pa.
ఫల అనాలి మనం. కర్మ ఫల అనాలి. విశ్వనాథ ధాని మర్డర్ చేసి పారేసారు తెలుగులోని. విశ్వనాథ నాథుడు అయిపోయాడు. నాథుడు ఎలా అవుతాడండి? నాథుడు థా అని చంపేశారు. అసలు నోటంట రాదు. ప్రథమ అంటారు. మొహమాటం లేకుండా తెలుగు వాళ్ళు ఇప్పుడు భాష శుభ్రత పట్టుతో ఉన్న వాళ్ళు తెలుగు వాళ్ళు ప్రథమ అంటారు. అంటారు. అధమా చేసి పడేస్తారు. నేను అధమాలా ఉంది. ప్రథమ అధమా అయిపోయింది. అది ప్రథమ థ వాడరు. సో ఫస్ట్ థింగ్ మనం ఏంటంటే శిక్ష మీద ఫోకస్ చేసి మొత్తం శిక్ష తోమాలి శుభ్రంగా పిల్లలు. ప్రొనౌన్సియేషనే కరెక్ట్ లేకపోతే, నేను అదే చెప్తున్నా, ఇంకో 1000 years we will have another language. It is called Sanskrit.
That's why Pravesh చెప్పాడు, I give stress on that phonetics immediately. First Pravesh లోనే.
అందుకే పాణిని శిక్ష, దానికి గ్రహణాతు శిక్ష అన్నారు.
Sanskrit will not come.
అంతే.
I give that impression to them in the beginning itself.
ఏంటి?
Always.
జ్ఞానం అది జ్ఞానం అన్నది. జకార జ్ఞా కదా, జ్ఞానం
జాను యా కలితే జ్ఞాల పడకాలి దాన్ని. గుజరాత్ వెళ్తే జ్ఞానం అయిపోయింది.
In the first lesson itself, I tell them one న్యాయం, మార్జాల కిశోర న్యాయం. Just I tell them with the first class of Pravesha.
So that's why
Marjala Kishore Nyami, you should understand to pronounce Sanskritam correctly. As Marjalam catches the neck of this Kishora,
Ashwadhyayi,
He has to
Savita,
catch the pronunciation of Sanskrit.
ఎగ్జాక్ట్లీ.
Savita,
Otherwise, he will be talking wrongly.
సార్
Savita
ఒక విషయం
Shastri
అండి
ఎవరో మాట్లాడతారట.
సార్
Yeah,
భాష
please, let us give the opportunity to others, please.
చెప్పండి సవితా శాస్త్రి.
Yeah,
సరే
please.
చెప్పండి.
Sir, namaste, sir. It's a real great honor to actually listen all the Sanskrit Panditulandaru మాట్లాడడం, and it's a real great honor. Especially Anant garu anta clear ga a structural differentiation, the way he explained Ashtadhyayi, దాన్ని అంత సులువుగా చేసి ఎక్స్ప్లెయిన్ చేయడం చాలా చాలా బాగుంది. Sir, is there any way, did you upload anything online so that we can understand it and learn more about how you have
నా స్ట్రగల్స్, నా
approached it?
లెర్నింగ్స్ నేను నా యూట్యూబ్ ఛానల్లో పెట్టానండి. దెర్ ఆర్ అబౌట్
Okay.
45 వీడియోస్ ఐ మేడ్. తర్వాత లైఫ్ గాట్ బిజీ, జాబ్ చేంజెస్, అందులోని ఐ కుడ్ నాట్ మేక్ మోర్. కానీ నేను ఇనీషియల్ ఇప్పుడు ఎంత వొకాబులరీ ఇచ్చానో అంత ఆల్మోస్ట్ అంతకన్నా కొంచెం ఎక్కువ నేను నా యూట్యూబ్ ఛానల్లో పెట్టాను. అందులో చెప్పాను కదా 45 టాక్స్ ఉన్నాయి. మై ప్లాన్
Okay.
ఈస్ టు స్టార్ట్ ఆల్ ఓవర్ అగైన్. ఏదో కొంచెం కొంచెం ఎక్కడైనా టైం దొరికితే మళ్ళీ మొదలెడదామని, బట్ దట్ డింట్ హ్యాపెన్. సో
Please do it. Please give the link once. That link out even was to.
Because like you said, spoken Sanskrit is different, but when I myself am finding గ్రామర్ నేర్చుకుంటున్న కొద్దీ ఒక్కొక్క వర్డ్, ఒక స్తోత్రం చదువుతున్న ఒక వర్డ్ పట్టుకునేసరికి అది ఎక్కడి నుంచి వచ్చింది అన్న రూట్ ఆలోచిస్తున్న కొద్దీ దాని మీనింగ్ తెలుసుకొని ఇంకొంచెం దాని గురించి తెలుసుకోవాలి అన్న జిజ్ఞాస ఎక్కువ అవుతున్నది. సో అది రావాలి అంటే మీరు అన్నట్టు we should have that entire thing before us. And unfortunately తెలుగు ఇప్పుడు తెలుగు కూడా అంత నేర్చుకోలేదు. ఐ మీన్ వీ హ్యావ్ కమ్ అవుట్ ఆఫ్ ఇట్. అట్లీస్ట్ ఇది నేర్చుకుంటున్నప్పుడు తెలుగు ఇప్పుడు మాట్లాడుతున్నా వీఆర్ ఏబుల్ టు రిలేట్ టు ఇట్. లైక్ హౌ యూ సెడ్, ఒక వర్డ్ పట్టుకున్నాము అంటే ఓకే ఇది సంస్కృతం నుంచి వచ్చింది, సో అది ఇంకొంచెం జ్ఞాపకం ఉంటున్నది. కానీ కొన్ని లైక్ సంస్కృతం నేర్చుకుంటున్నప్పుడు మోస్ట్లీ ఇట్ ఈస్ బీయింగ్ థాట్ దట్ ఇది ప్రథమ విభక్తి, ఇది విభక్తులు. But no one actually teaches, like for a layman, like zero knowledge. విభక్తులు అంటే ఏమిటి, అసలు అది ఎందుకు వచ్చాయి, ఒక నామినేటివ్ కేస్ అన్నది ఉంది, ఇది కేసెస్. అరే వాట్ ఈస్ కేస్ అంటే వీ షుడ్ నాట్ బ్రింగ్ అదర్ లాంగ్వేజ్ వెన్ వీఆర్ టీచింగ్ హియర్.
కరెక్ట్.
అది ఎక్కడ దొరకట్లేదు. అంటే లైక్ కంప్లీట్లీ జీరో నాలెడ్జ్.
అది మీరు
శాస్త్రి గారు, మీరు నా క్లాస్ అటెండ్ అవుతున్నారా?
సార్ నేను అప్పుడప్పుడు ఫాలో అవుతున్నానండి. సారీ అన్ని వినలేకపోతున్నాను.
అటెండ్ అయ్యి ఒకసారి అడగండి, ఐ విల్ ఎక్స్ప్లెయిన్ ఆల్ ది.
తప్పకుండా సార్. అంటే ఆ బేసిక్ డౌట్ ఎప్పుడు ఉండిపోయింది, మధ్యలో మాట్లాడడం.
మొదట్లో అదేంటంటే మనకి ఆ ఇన్హిబిషన్స్ కూడా కొన్ని ఉంటాయి. ఇప్పుడు నేను మీకు చెప్పాలి అంటే ఇప్పుడు సప్తమ అధికరణే అంటే మీకు సూత్రం కావాలా నేర్చుకోవడానికి, సప్తమి విభక్తి అధికరణంలో వాడడానికి అయినా అక్కర్లేదు, సూత్రం అక్కర్లేదు. సప్తమి అంటే ఇన్ ఆన్ యాట్ అని చెప్పేస్తే సప్తమి విభక్తి పెట్టేయచ్చును. కానీ సప్తమ అధికరణే అని ఒక సూత్రం ఉంది, అది గుర్తుపెట్టేది. అది చదివితే మీకు వెంటనే అన్ని సప్తములు కనబడిపోతాయి మీకు ఒకేసారి.
అది ఐడెంటిఫై చేయడం.
అలాగే 21 విభక్తులు ఉన్నాయి. సుప్ అంటారు వాటిని. సుఔజ సమౌష స్టాభ్యాం భ్యాభ్యాసంగా సిభ్యాభ్యాసంగా సౌసాంగ్యో సుప్. ఈ 21 విభక్తులే ప్రతి ప్రాతిపదికంతో చేరి నామరూపాలు తయారవుతాయి. భాష అనేది ఇప్పుడు మనం ఎప్పుడైనా వేదంలో వింటారు, చత్వారి వాక్ పరిమితా పదాని అంటారు. చత్వారి అంటే ఏమిటి, నాలుగు రకాలు ఏమిటి పదాలు ఉన్నాయి అంటే ఆలోచిస్తే సుబంతాలు ఉన్నాయి అంటే నామరూపాలు. తర్వాత క్రియాపదాలు ఉన్నాయి, ఆఖ్యాత అంటారు, నామాఖ్యాత, ఉపసర్గ, నిపాత. ఈ 4 రకాల పదాలే ఉన్నాయి సంస్కృతంలో. ఉపసర్గ 22, ఉపసర్గ 22, అవి ఈజీ గుర్తు పెట్టేసుకోవచ్చును. నిపాతాలు అంటే అవి నేను మనం ఇందులో చూపించిన చాది గణలో 150 200 సమేవో అవి డిఫరెంట్ మీనింగ్స్ లో వస్తాయి. వాటికి ఏమో ఒక సెట్ మీనింగ్ ఉండదు. ఇప్పుడు చా అనే పదం వాడారనుకోండి, ఈ చా అనే పదంతో ఎండ్ అని సింప్లెస్ట్ మనం ఫస్ట్ గ్రేడ్ లెవెల్లో నేర్చుకునేది ఏంటి అంటే ఎండ్ అని. కానీ ఈ ఎండ్ అనేది ఏ కాంటెక్స్ లో వాడారో ఆ పైన ఉన్న కాంటెక్స్ ని పట్టుకుని చాకి అర్థం మారిపోతుంది. చా ఇస్ నాట్ సంస్కృతంలో కొన్ని అర్థాలు ఏంటంటే నిపాతాలు అంటారు వాటిని. దాని పేరంటే ఉచ్చావధేషు నిపతంతి, ఏ నిపతంతి తే నిపాతాః. ఏ మీనింగ్ లోనైనా పడొచ్చు. చా అనే దానికి ఓ నమస్కారం
Hmm.
చేయొచ్చును, చా అనే దానికి మొట్టికాయ మొత్తడం కూడా కావచ్చును, డిపెండింగ్ ఆన్ ద కాంటెక్స్ట్ దట్ యూఆర్ యూజింగ్. సో
Correct.
అలాగా ఈ 4 నేర్చుకున్నారనుకోండి, ఈ ఈ సుబంతాలు, తింగంతాలకి బెస్ట్ అసలు ఇన్ ద మోడర్న్ కాంటెక్స్ట్. ఇఫ్ యూ వాంట్ లర్న్ లిటిల్ బిట్ ఆఫ్ హిందీ అండ్ లిసన్ టు డాక్టర్ పుష్పా దీక్షిత్. ఆవిడ చెప్పినంత తింగంత ప్రకరణం అది
I will do that, sir.
మహా అరణ్యం, కానీ షీ ఎక్స్ప్లెయిన్డ్ ఇట్ సచ్ సింపుల్ వే. సేమ్ థింగ్ విత్ తద్దిత ప్రకరణం.
తప్పకుండా.
తద్దిత ప్రకరణాల్లో అంటే మనం అన్నీ నేర్చుకోక్కర్లే. ఇప్పుడు మీరు ఈవెన్చువలీ యూ విల్ గ్రాడ్యుయేట్ టు ఇట్. ఓ స్ట్రక్చర్గా నేర్చేసుకుంటే నేర్చేసుకోవచ్చు. కానీ లేదు అన్నప్పుడు ఏంటి అంటే అట్లీస్ట్ మనకి ఒక ఇప్పుడు రాష్ట్రీయ భావ అంటే ఇప్పుడు రాష్ట్రీయ అని ఉందనుకోండి ఎక్కడైనా పదం. అంటే రాష్ట్రీయ అంటే మనం ఏమనిపిస్తుంది, రాష్ట్రం నుంచి వచ్చినవాడు, రాష్ట్రానికి వెళ్తున్నవాడు, రాష్ట్రంలో ఉన్నవాడు, రాష్ట్రంలో పుట్టినవాడు, సో మెనీ అర్థాల్లో చెప్పుకోవచ్చు. అన్నిటికీ రాష్ట్రీయ అనే పదం అని వస్తుంది సంస్కృతంలో. సో సంస్కృతానికి ఏంటంటే లైక్ ఎ సెడ్, మనం ముందు ఒక గ్రేడ్ 1 నేర్చుకున్న తర్వాత ఈ ఆల్వేస్ హ్యావ్ టు గ్రాడ్యుయేట్ టు కీప్ ఆన్ గ్రాడ్యుయేటింగ్ టు ద నెక్స్ట్ లెవెల్. అది ఆ యాటిట్యూడ్ ఇది డెవలప్ చేసుకుంటే యూ విల్ బి రివార్డెడ్ వెరీ వెరీ హెవీలీ. నేను ఇప్పుడు నేను ఎప్పుడో మా అమ్మాయి ఓ పాట నేర్చుకుంటూ ఉంటే అందులో ఒక లైన్ వచ్చింది, ద్రౌణి బాల జ్వాల తాకిన బాలుడికి ప్రాణమిచ్చిన జగత్రాణుడు అని సంథింగ్ వస్తుంది అనమాట. ఏడనున్నాడు, ఎక్కడున్నాడు అని వస్తుంది. పుట్టుకుని వచ్చాను నేను, ఇది స్పెల్లింగ్ మిస్టేకా, స్క్రిప్ట్ ఎవడైనా తప్పు రాసాడా, ఈ ద్రౌణి గాలు ఏమిటి, ఈ ద్రౌణి అంటే ఓ రోజు అప్పుడు ఇంక పడుకుంటుంటే అప్పుడు తెలియగలిగింది నాకు. ద్రోణుడు కొడుకు ద్రౌణి అవుతాడు కదా, వాడు అశ్వత్థామ. వాడు బ్రహ్మాస్త్రం ఇచ్చి ఎవరిని కొట్టాడు, ఉత్తర గర్భంలో కొట్టాడు. ఆ బాలుడికి ప్రాణం ఎవడిచ్చాడు, కృష్ణుడు ఇచ్చాడు. ఆ జగత్ప్రాణుడు ఎక్కడున్నాడు అని అడుగుతాడు కవి. మనకి ఈ విషయం తెలియకపోతే కొంచెం కూడా అండర్స్టాండింగ్, హౌ వుడ్ వి ఎంజాయ్ సచ్ బ్యూటిఫుల్ లిటరేచర్.
విరాజరాజ పుత్రారే అన్నట్టుగా.
కరెక్ట్. సో నా పాయింట్ ఏంటంటే యూ హ్యావ్ టు టేస్ట్ ఇట్ అండ్ దెన్ కీప్ ఆన్ టేస్టింగ్ మోర్. అప్పుడు మీకే వస్తుంది. కానీ స్టే విత్ ఇట్, ఇట్స్ నాట్ హార్డ్. మనం హార్డ్ అని వదిలేస్తే, మనం వదిలేసిన దాన్ని పక్కవాడు పట్టుకున్నాడని తర్వాత ఏడిచి లాభం ఏమిటి?
లేదు అదే
అది. సో మనకిచ్చిన మనం దాన్ని ఏంటంటే అది ఒక బ్రహ్మాండమైన అమూల్య వస్తువు మనకి ఇచ్చారు అని మనం తెలుసుకుని దాన్ని మనం రక్షించుకుంటే బాగుంటుంది. కానీ అది మనం ఇప్పుడు డాక్టర్ పుష్పా దీక్షిత్ చాలా బాధపడుతూ చెప్తారు, ఆవిడ పాణిని శోధ సంస్థానాన్ని పెట్టడానికి బ్యాంక్ లోన్కి వెళ్తే బ్యాంక్ ఆఫీసర్ అడిగేట, ఆఫీసర్ బ్యాంక్ లో కూర్చున్నా అంటే వాడు ఏదో గజెటెడ్ ర్యాంక్ వచ్చుంటాడు ఏదో పరీక్ష రాసి, హూ ఇస్ పాణిని అని అడిగాడు. భారతదేశంలో పుట్టి హూ ఇస్ పాణిని అని అడగడం ఏంటండి?
అదే తెలియదు మహోదయ. అది ఎలా ఉంటుందంటే ఇప్పుడు అంతా అన్నానని కాదు, బట్ మోస్ట్ ఆఫ్ ఆల్మోస్ట్ ఎవ్రీ హౌస్ హోల్డ్ హ్యాస్ అ పర్సన్ స్టేయింగ్ ఇన్ యుఎస్. ఆల్ ద చిల్డ్రన్ ఆర్ బోర్న్ దేర్. మన తెలుగు వాళ్ళు తెలుగు మాట్లాడతారు ఆ పిల్లలు. అంటే మనం వస్తున్నాము అంటాం, వాళ్ళు వస్తున్నాముకి వచ్చేము ఏదేదో మాట్లాడతారు. మేము సంస్కృతం ఇప్పుడు నేర్చుకుంటున్నప్పుడు కూడా అదే డౌట్ వస్తుంది, ఇక్కడ ఏది వాడాలి, అంటే ఖాదతి ఖాదయాం ఏదైనా మాట్లాడిస్తాం. ఇఫ్ వి డోంట్ నో దిస్ గ్రామర్, అంటే ఇది ఎలా ఫామ్ అయింది అన్నది తెలియకపోతే వి ఎండ్ అప్ యూజింగ్ ఎనీథింగ్ అండ్ ఎవ్రీథింగ్. అండ్ అన్ఫార్చునేట్లీ దేర్ ఇస్ నో వన్ టు కరెక్ట్ us ఆల్సో.
దట్ ఈస్ దేర్. ఎందుకంటే మనం ఆ భాషను వదిలేసుకున్నాం కాబట్టి. 1000-2000 సంవత్సరాల క్రితం భారతదేశంలో అనర్గళంగా అంతమంది సంస్కృతమే మాట్లాడేవారు. సో అప్పుడు వాళ్ళకి ఈ రూల్ చెప్పాల్సిన అవసరం లేదు. వాళ్ళకి
అప్పుడు అవసరం లేదు.
నీకు నువ్వు రామకి కర్తలోని ప్రథమ విభక్తి వాడాలి, తర్వాత ఏమో కరణం అయితే రాముడు బాణంతో చంపాడు అంటే తృతీయ విభక్తి వాడాలి అని వాళ్ళకి అప్పుడు చెప్పక్కర్లేదు. ఎందుకంటే దట్ వాజ్ ద లాంగ్వేజ్. అప్పుడు వాళ్ళకి గ్రామాటిక్ రూల్స్ వర్ ఈజీ. ఇప్పుడు ఏమిటైందంటే మన సంస్కృతానికి చాలా దూరం అయిపోవడం వలన మనకి ఇది అలా భయంలా అనిపిస్తుంది. ఇదేమిటి, మనం ఇక్కడ కర్త వాడాలా, కర్మ వాడాలా, ఏమిటి వాడాలా అని ఇప్పుడు నాకే ఏదో పాణిని గురించి ఏదో నేను 1 గంట టాక్ ఇచ్చాను. కానీ ఇప్పుడు అన్ఇంటరప్టెడ్ నన్ను సంస్కృతంలో ఇంత మాట్లాడమంటే నేను మాట్లాడలేను. నేను నా బుర్రలోనే అవే థాట్స్ వెళ్తాయి. నేను ఇక్కడ కర్ణం పెట్టాలా, సప్తమి పెట్టాలా, తృతీయ పెట్టాలా, అవన్నీ నా బుర్రలోనే వెళ్తాయి. ఎందుకు అంటే ఆ ఇన్హిబిషన్ టు టాక్ అది. అది ఎలా వస్తుంది అంటే, ఇదిగో పెద్దవాళ్ళు ఉన్నారు కదా, వీళ్ళు చెప్తారు. అది మీకు ఆ శాస్త్రం చదివితే వస్తుంది. రామాయణ శ్లోకాలు చదివితే వస్తుంది. ఏదో చిన్న టెక్స్ట్ మీకు చందమామలు లాంటి సంస్కృతం స్టోరీలు చదివితే వస్తుంది. ఆ ఇన్హిబిషన్
అవును.
పోయిన వెంటనే దెన్ యువర్ మైండ్, ఇప్పుడు నా ఎగ్జాంపుల్ తీసుకుంటే నేను మొత్తం హిందీ మీడియంలో చదివాను. నాకు హెవెన్ అంటే ఏమిటో తెలియదు 10th గ్రేడ్లోనే.
ఆహా.
అంటే
ఆ.
ఇట్స్ వెరీ ఎంబారసింగ్. 10th పాస్ అయ్యి
Yes.
11th లో వెళ్ళిన తర్వాత సంబడి రియలీ హ్యూమిలియేటెడ్ మీ ఇన్ ఫ్రంట్ ఆఫ్ ఎవ్రీబడి బికాస్ ఐ డిడ్ నాట్ నో ద స్పెల్లింగ్ అండ్ వాట్ ఈస్ ద మీనింగ్ ఆఫ్ హెవెన్ ఇస్. నేను అంత హిందీ మీడియంలో చదువుకున్నా. నాకు ఆ ఇంగ్లీష్ అంటే అలా ఉండేది నా ఇంగ్లీష్. ఏంటవుతుంది, మొదట్లో మీరు ఇలా ట్రాన్స్లేట్ చేసుకుంటారు. తర్వాత ఏంటవుతుంది, ఏదో సినిమాలు చూస్తారు, పుస్తకాలు చదువుతారు, నావెల్స్ చదువుతారు. మెల్లిమెల్లిగా కాన్వర్సేషన్ స్లోలీ బిల్డ్ అయ్యి ఇప్పుడు మీరు ఏదో ఒక ఏదో జీవికోపార్జన గడిపించేంత ఇంగ్లీష్ భాష వచ్చును. సంస్కృతానికి కూడా అలాగే అవుతుంది. మనకి ఏంటంటే
అదే.
ప్రాబ్లం ఎక్కడ వస్తుంది అంటే, మనం యూట్యూబ్లో వెళ్ళి దీన్ని ఇంపాస్టర్ సిండ్రోమ్ అంటారు. మనం ఏమో ఏదో అనర్గళంగా మాట్లాడే వాళ్ళు పెద్దవాళ్ళని చూసి అబ్బా ఎంత బాగా మాట్లాడేస్తున్నారో అనుకుంటాం. మనం ఇంట్లో వచ్చి ట్రై చేయడానికి అంటే మనం విభక్తి కోసం బుర్ర కొట్టుకుంటూ ఉంటుంది. ఇక్కడ ప్రథమ
And
పెట్టాలా, ద్వితీయ పెట్టాలా,
we
దీన్ని ఎవడు
don't
కరెక్ట్
have that
చేస్తాడా అని.
environment also to speak.
కరెక్ట్.
Okay.
దానికి మరి ఏం లేదు, మీరు అలా అంతే పుస్తకాలు అంతే అవన్నీ చదివితే వచ్చేస్తుంది.
Garu.
Sir,
So
Ashtadhyayi.
we are, Veda Samskruti Samiti is committed for the development of this knowledge among ourselves and the future generations also. We request you to associate with us and give more lectures like this. And in fact, a series of lectures I expect from you. Kindly prepare. And you have said that 45 videos are there. We will ask them to see those videos also. But
Yeah,
you
that's a
can
good
spare
start.
your time and give weekly one lecture and introduce the Panini and the concepts of how to understand Panini. Concepts how to understand Panini. That is more important. Concepts how to understand Panini is more important. On that you can give lectures. That will be more useful to our members. And with that request to you, I request others, if anybody wants to speak, please raise your hands. Otherwise,
ధన్యవాదాలు మహోదయ.
Savitaji, we started explaining a Samskrita Bharati lectures.
Yes.
I started actually. I don't know the others whether they have done it.
Avunu.
What are the 7 vibhaktis and what are the each sabdam, how to understand each sabdam? That I started telling last 2-3 sessions. Earlier in the first sessions of mine, I didn't concentrate on that because I thought everybody could understand. But I thought nobody is understanding this concept of vibhaktis and sabdagnanam. So unless sabdagnanam and vibhakti gnanam is properly understood, you cannot speak out. Another thing is, unless you coordinate with your jamha and mind properly, you cannot speak. So everybody should read Sanskritam openly, not just doing silent reading. Silent reading will not help you because your jamha is supposed to, your tongue is supposed to accustom for this pronunciation. Unless that accustomed to pronunciation is there, the mind and tongue cannot coordinate. So that all these things I started telling the people nowadays. I hope next future sessions future students will be more capable of speaking better. I'm thinking like that, and I'm seeing that also. They could develop better by understanding these concepts.
Prakash maatladtaru.
Got 7 attributes, 4 fixed attributes, and 3 variable attributes. Similarly, 7 vibhaktis, each has got a separate understanding. So that's all is to be understood in basic level, other than sutra level. The sutras are there. The sutras are there. But how to understand a common man, we started telling that. So that will help.
I will enroll in the next session, Mahodaya, once you put it in the group.
You can join any, you don't need to enroll, you can join any session now. You can, when you come, I will explain that once again, another 5-10 minutes that we do.
Okay.
Prakash
ధన్యవాదాలు.
Prakash garu, please ask your questions.
సార్ క్వశ్చన్ ఏం కాదు సార్, నమస్కారం సార్. సార్ ఈరోజు చాలా అత్యద్భుతమైనటువంటి ప్రసంగాన్ని వినే భాగ్యం కలిగినందుకు చాలా చాలా సంతోషపడుతున్నాం సార్. సార్, ఈ సంస్కృత భాషను మాట్లాడాలి అనే దానికి మీరు అన్నట్లు కొద్దిగా భయం వేస్తుంది కదా సార్. ఆ భయం పోవడానికి ఇప్పుడు తెలుగులో ఏదో బాలబోధిని అనేది ఒక పుస్తకం ఏదో ఉంది అని అన్నారు కదా, అది కొంచెం అది కూడా షేర్ చేస్తే టైటిల్ అది మేము దాన్ని తీసుకొని ఇతోధికంగా శ్రమిస్తామనేసి ఒక విధంగా
అది మంచిదే
మనవి
కానీ
చేసుకుంటున్నాను
అది మంచిదే
సార్.
కానీ ఇప్పుడే చెప్పాను, 2
రెండు
minutes బ్యాకే చెప్పాను నేను. మీరు మాట్లాడలేకపోవడానికి కారణం పదాన్ని సరిగ్గా అర్థం చేసుకోలేకపోవడం. రెండో కారణం మీరు ఓపెన్ గా చదవకపోవడం, ఓపెన్ గా లౌడ్ గా సంస్కృతం చదవకపోవడం. These are the important factors which make you stop opening your mouth and speaking it, and that inhibition can go only when you speak, when you read your lessons loudly. And start reading lessons loudly, then automatically you will develop it. Then second thing is Sabda Jnana, how to use that Sabdam, that Vibhakti and Sabda attributes. You should understand those things properly. Then only you will be able to speak. So, బాలబోధిని ఇవన్నీ మన ప్రవేశ లెవెల్లో మనం చదువుకున్నట్లు అన్నీ ఉన్నాయి దాంట్లోనే. బాలబోధిని is not a different thing than what we have learned in ప్రవేశ and other things. From those అవి ఇంక్లూడ్ అయ్యే ఉన్నాయి ఈ ప్రవేశ 4 లెవెల్లో. మీరు చదువుతున్న 4 లెవెల్లో మీరు ఇప్పుడు శిక్షలోనో కోవిడ్లోనో ఉన్నారు మీరు కదా,
శిక్షలో ఉన్నాను సార్.
శిక్షలో ఉన్నారు. సో ఆ బాలబోధనలో ఏం చెప్పామో అదే ఇందులో ఒక ప్రోగ్రెస్ గా వస్తుంది. బట్ ది మెయిన్ థింగ్ ఫర్ యూ ఫర్ నాట్ ఏబుల్ టు స్పీక్ ఈస్ దిస్: you are not reading openly, you are not thinking the shabdam. There are 6 levels of the things are there: Shravanam, Chintanam, Mananam, Bhashanam, Bhashanam, Lekhanam, Smarana. In between Smaranam is there. Smaranam, then Bhashanam and Lekhanam. These 6 levels you should understand. And in that mainly, first 3 is very important for Bhashanam. That is Shravanam, Chintanam and Maranam. Shravanam is you understand how to speak, and then Chintanam will give the remembering that concept and repeat it. And Mananam is once you know a new word, you should repeat it number of times in your mind. And then Pathanam you should read loudly. Then you can do Bhashanam. So these things you are not doing properly. That's why you could not do Bhashanam.
మీరు చెప్పినట్లు దాన్ని అనుసరించడానికే ప్రయత్నిస్తాను సార్. ఇంకా మిగతా 100%. రెండోది ఏంటంటే ఈ రోజు జరిగిన మేధో మదనం కూడా చాలా 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 అద్భుతంగా ఉంది సార్. దానివల్ల కూడా మాకు చాలా చాలా విషయాలు తెలుసుకోగలిగాము. ఇందుకు అనంత్ కుమార్ గారికి, ఉపాధ్యాయులు గారికి మేము చాలా చాలా ధన్యవాదాలు తెలియజేసుకుంటున్నాం సార్. అట్లాగే ఈ అవకాశాన్ని మాకు కల్పించినటువంటి మీ అందరికీ కూడా సార్, అంటే ప్రభాకర్ రావు గారికి కానీ, బాబు గారికి కానీ, తర్వాత అనంత్ కుమార్ గారు కానీ, విజయ్ కుమార్ గారు కానీ, వీళ్ళందరికీ కూడా, అట్లాగే మా ఆచార్యులైనటువంటి మీకు ప్లస్ అమ్మ విశాలాక్షి అమ్మవారికి కూడా చాలా చాలా ధన్యవాదాలు సార్. ఎందుకంటే మీరు చెప్తున్నంత ఓపికతో మీ వయస్సును దృష్టిలో పెట్టుకుంటే మేము మీ పాద ధూళికి కూడా మేము అందుకోలేమేమో అనిపిస్తుంది సార్. సో ఇటువంటి భాగ్యం కలిగింది అని అంటే మాకు చాలా చాలా అదృష్టం అని అనుకుంటున్నాం సార్. సో చాలా చాలా ధన్యవాదాలండి.
ధన్యవాద. సో ఎనీబడి ఎల్స్ వుడ్ లైక్ టు ఆస్క్ ఎనీ క్వశ్చన్ ఆర్ షల్ వి క్లోజ్?
డాక్టర్ కె శారద.
యా ప్లీజ్ శారదాజీ పృచ్చత్.
మా శారద గారు మాట్లాడొచ్చు.
అన్మ్యూట్ చేసి మాట్లాడండి ప్లీజ్. ఆ మైక్ నొక్కండి, ఆ మైక్ ఒకసారి ప్రెస్ చేయండి, ఇట్ విల్ గెట్ అన్మ్యూటెడ్. శారద గారు, డాక్టర్ కె శారద. ఎనీబడి ఎల్స్? ఎవరైనా మాట్లాడాలనుకుంటున్నారా?
Guruji, with your permission, I would like to say one word. Good Anant Upadhyayaya garu, it is a good Sanskrit engineering, I can say. మీరు ఆ derivation
that concept I agree. He talked about re-engineering. That is the concept I was also thinking. That's what Panini did.
మనం ఎట్లా మ్యాథమెటిక్స్ లో కానీ ఏదైనా ఒక దాన్ని వదలకుండా ఎట్లా డెరివేషన్ ఇది చేసుకొని వస్తామో ఆ విధంగా మీరు
రివర్స్ ఇంజనీరింగ్
మహర్షి పాణిని
మీరు మాకు ఎక్స్ప్లెయిన్ చేశారని చెప్తున్నాను. అదే ఆ పద్ధతి చాలా బాగా నచ్చింది. అండ్ వెరీ థ్యాంక్ఫుల్ టు యూ అండ్ ఆల్ ది టీమ్ అండ్ ధన్యవాద.
No, the Panini, science in Panini is called reverse engineering. Panini antene analytical thinking. Analytical thinking. Analytical engineering antene analytical thinking. Panini అంటేనే అనలిటికల్ థింకింగ్.
కరెక్ట్.
సో it is it goes together. So Sharad garu, could you open your mic, or Lakshmi garu, Lakshmi Vasundhara garu, please open your mic, then speak.
నమస్కారం మహోదయ. హరి ఓం. నమస్కారం మహోదయ.
లక్ష్మి గారు చెప్పండి.
నేను చాలా కాలం తర్వాత మళ్ళీ జాయిన్ అయ్యానండి సెషన్ లో లేట్ గా. కానీ నేను జాయిన్ అయ్యేటప్పటికి అనంత్ మహోదయ పాణిని గారి దాని గురించి చెప్తున్నారు. చాలా బాగా అనిపించింది. నాకైతే ఒకటే రిక్వెస్ట్ అడుగుదాం అనుకుంటున్నాను. మన వేద సంస్కృత సమితి తరఫు నుంచి ఇవన్నీ కంఠస్థం చేయించడానికి ఆల్రెడీ నేను అష్టాధ్యాయి అయిపోయింది మహోదయ, నాది 8 మొత్తం చాప్టర్స్ అన్ని అయిపోయింది. కానీ మళ్ళీ నేర్చుకోవాలంటే దాని ధారణ శక్తి ఎంత ఉందో నాకు తెలుస్తుంది, చక్కగా తెలుస్తుంది. అది ఏమన్నా మళ్ళా ఇంకొకసారి సభ్యులందరికీ ఉపయోగపడేలాగా ఏదన్నా అలాగా ఆయనకి అవకాశం ఉంటుందా, లేకపోతే ఎవరికైనా గానీ మన సంస్థ
అయిపోయిందంటే మీరు మొత్తం అష్టాధ్యాయి కంఠస్థ చేశారనా?
చేశానండి.
ఇప్పుడు మీరు అష్టాధ్యాయి కంఠస్థం చేస్తే మీరు బెస్ట్ థింగ్ ఏంటంటే కొన్ని ఎలా చెప్పాలి మీకు, ఇప్పుడు యాక్చువల్లీ మీకు మొత్తం అంతా నోటికి వచ్చేస్తే యూ షుడ్ బి ఏబుల్ టు టీచ్ మీ.
లేదండి, లేదు, నేను అది పారాయణంగానే నేర్చుకున్నాను, అంతేగాని
పారాయణంగా నేర్చుకున్నా ఇట్స్ వర్త్ ఇట్. ఎందుకు అంటే మీకు ఒక ఏమైనా గురువు గారు, లేకపోతే ఇప్పుడు నేను నా యూట్యూబ్లో 45 వీడియోస్ ఉన్నాయో, లేకపోతే నేను ఇంకో లింక్ పంపిస్తాను, ఇంకో వీడియో లింక్ గ్రూప్లో షేర్ చేస్తాను. వాళ్ళు చెప్పేవి కొన్ని మీరు చూస్తే మీకు కంఠస్థం అవ్వడం మూలన వాళ్ళు చెప్పేవి మీకు ఇంకా వేరంగా అర్థం అవుతాయి.
సరే అండి.
అది మీకు అదే బూన్ అనమాట. అంటే మొత్తం పారాయణగా కంఠస్థ పట్టడం ఇట్ సెల్ఫ్ ఇస్ అ రిమార్కబుల్ ఫీట్.
అయినా కానీ మళ్ళీ నేర్చుకోవాలి రిపీటెడ్ గా. లైక్ టేబుల్స్ మనము టాప్ టు బాటమ్, బాటమ్ టు టాప్ ఎట్లా చేస్తాం అట్లా చెయ్యాలి అని నాకు ఒక,
మీరు ఇంకా మీకు మొత్తం నోటికి వచ్చేస్తే మీరు ఒక విష్ణు సహస్రనామం వారానికి ఒకసారి చదువుకున్నట్టు మీరు రోజు కూర్చొని చదివేసుకోవడమే. కానీ అక్కడతో ఆగిపోకుండా దెన్ దాంట్లో మీరు పదచ్ఛేదం చేసి అందులో ఏ విభక్తులు ఉన్నాయో అవి తెలుసుకుని, ఒక విభక్తి రెండో దాంట్లో ఎలా వెళ్తుందో అవి వాటిని గురించి తెలుసుకుని, ఇవాళ ఇచ్చిన ఎగ్జాంపుల్ ప్రకారంగా కొన్ని ప్రకరణాలు మీరు చదువుకుంటే దెన్ ఇట్ విల్ స్టార్ట్స్ ఓపెనింగ్ అప్ లైక్ ఎ ఫ్లవర్ ఇన్ ఫ్రంట్ ఆఫ్ యువర్ ఐస్. మీకు అన్ని అంత క్లియర్ గా ఓ దిస్ ఇస్ హౌ ఈ క్రియేటెడ్ అని మీకు అర్థం అవడం మొదలవుతుంది.
మహోదయ సరే అండి.
Any more questions? CV Ramakrishna wanted to talk, and Sharada garu left actually.
Okay, now I think we are running past the time.
Yeah, we are crossing the time also. So shall we close now, Anant garu?
Yeah.
నేను మాట్లాడాలనుకున్నా కానీ ఇప్పుడు ముందు నేను ప్రమాణంగా ఉన్నాను, అందుకని నేనేం మాట్లాడినండి. అందరికీ ధన్యవాదాలు. నేను శిక్ష చదువుకుంటున్నా, మన ప్రభాకర్ రావు గారు మా గురువు గారు. ఈ ఉపన్యాసం వల్ల నాకు ఒక బెనిఫిట్ ఏంటంటే, ఇప్పుడు ఆనంద్ కుమార్ గారు చెప్పినట్లుగా చూసి భయపడకుండా ముందుకు వెళ్ళాలి అనే ఒక ఉత్సుకత అయితే ఏర్పడిందండి. ముందు ఈ విభక్తులు, ఈ లకారాలు చూసి 5 లకారాలకే నేను గాబరా పడిపోయాను. నా వయసు 64, రిటైర్డ్ ఎంప్లాయీని, ఇండియాలోనే ఉంటున్నాను. ఇప్పుడు తిరిగి వచ్చి ఇక్కడే సెటిల్ అయిపోయాను, ఇండియాలో ఉంటాను, రాజమండ్రి దగ్గరలో. కానీ ఫ్రాంక్లీ నేను బాగానే ఉంది, ప్రవేశంలో నాకు బాగానే అనిపించింది. పరీక్షకు వచ్చేసరికి ఆ కర్మణిలు తర్వాత అన్ని విభక్తులు ఒక్కసారి అటాక్ అయిపోయేసరికి, ఫ్రాంక్ అంటే నా లేమ్యాన్ లాంగ్వేజ్లో మాట్లాడుతున్నా, మీరు అన్నిదా భావించొద్దు, నేను అర్థం చేసుకుంటానని భావిస్తున్నాను. ఒక పరిస్థితి ఒక స్టేజ్కి వచ్చేసరికి నేను ఇది మన వల్ల కాదురా, సంస్కృతం అనేది ఒక రోజులో వచ్చేది కాదు, మనకు మిగిలిన జీవితం అంతా తెలియదు, ఇంకా 64లో ఉన్నావు నువ్వు, మహా అయితే ఇంకో 10 ఏళ్ళు బతుకుతావేమో, ఈ 10 ఏళ్ళలో నీకు అయ్యేది కాదు, వృధాగా ఎందుకు అవ్వని దాని గురించి రామకోటి మొదలెట్టినట్టు ఉంటుంది ఇప్పుడు అని అనుకుని భయపడ్డాను. బట్ శిక్షకు వచ్చిన తర్వాత కొన్ని ఈ సంస్కృతి మీటింగ్స్ 2-3 అటెండ్ అయిన తర్వాత, లేకపోతే ఇవాళ మీ ఉపన్యాసం విన్న తర్వాత, ఇలాంటి వాళ్ళు తర్వాత విశాలాక్షి గారి స్పీచ్లు కొన్ని విన్న తర్వాత నాకు ముందుకు వెళ్ళాలి అనిపించింది. అంటే ఓకే, మళ్ళా అదే పాయింట్, నాకు అవ్వకపోవచ్చు, నా జీవితం సరిపోకపోవచ్చు, కానీ రోజు రోజుకి కొత్త కొత్త విషయాలు తెలుస్తున్నాయి కదా, ఆ కొంచెం ఆనందం ఇట్స్ గివింగ్ మీ హ్యాపీనెస్. అంతే, అంతకంటే ఎక్కువ
వస్తుందండి.
మాట్లాడలేను.
మీ
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 అందరికీ
దగ్గర దేవుడి దయ వల్ల ఇప్పుడు మీకు ఏంటంటే ఫుల్ 8 hours to 10 hours యూ కెన్ డెడికేట్. మీకు
Yes,
1.5 years చాలు సంస్కృతం నేర్చుకోవడానికి, మొత్తం పాణిని గ్రామర్ నేర్చేసుకోవడానికి.
చూద్దాం,
రామకృష్ణ గారు,
ప్రయత్నిస్తాను.
రామకృష్ణ
ఆనంద్
గారు,
కుమార్ గారికి, ఇనిషియేట్ చేసిన ఆనంద్ కుమార్ గారికి, ప్రభాకర్ గారికి, ఈ రోజు మీరు మళ్ళా ఉత్తేజించిన మీకు మీ అందరికీ ధన్యవాదాలు. నమో నమః.
రామకృష్ణ గారు, ఇది చాలా మంది ఇలాగే అనుకుంటూ ఉంటారు, నేను ఎందుకు నేర్చుకోవాలి, వేస్ట్ కదా అని. బట్ మన కర్మ సిద్ధాంతం కనుక మనం నమ్మితే ఈ జన్మ కాకపోతే వచ్చే జన్మలో,
కరెక్ట్,
ఈ జన్మలో కొంత నేర్చుకుంటే అది ఫౌండేషన్ ఏర్పడచ్చు వచ్చే జన్మకి.
అయ్యా
సో ఎంత వీలైతే అంత క్షణశః కణశశ్చైవ విద్యామర్థంచ సాధయేత్. సో క్షణాన్ని వేస్ట్ చేయకుండా, ఏ క్షణాన్ని వేస్ట్ చేయకుండా మనం విద్య నేర్చుకుంటూ ఉంటే అది ఎప్పటికైనా మనకు పనికొస్తుంది. సో అది మనతో వెళ్ళేది అదే, ఈ సూక్ష్మ శరీరంతో వెళ్ళేది అదే, ఆ విద్య వెళ్తుంది. కాబట్టి వచ్చే జన్మలో ఆ కర్మ మనకి సపోర్ట్ చేసి మనం నెక్స్ట్ జన్మలో సంస్కృత పండితులు అవ్వబోతామేమో తెలియదు. కాబట్టి వేస్ట్ అనుకోకండి, అధైర్యపడకండి, గో హెడ్.
నమస్కారం అండి, 1 minute సార్. నేను కోవిద చదువుతున్నాను, సంస్కృతం లెసన్. నమస్కారం అండి మహోదయులకు అందరికీ. నేను ఇప్పుడు సంస్కృత భారతి నుంచి కోవిద అపేర్ అవుతున్నాను. ఆ లఘు సిద్ధాంత కౌముది సూత్రాలకే కొంచెం అంటే ఎవరన్నా ఎక్స్ప్లెయిన్ చేస్తే గానీ నాట్ ఏబుల్ టు అండర్స్టాండ్ థరోలీ ద సూత్రాస్. అట్లాంటప్పుడు పాణిని అంటేనే నిజంగా ఒక విధంగా భయం పుడుతుంది. ఇప్పటికీ మొదలు స్టార్ట్ చేస్తున్నాము కానీ ఎగ్జాక్ట్లీ హౌ టు ప్రొసీడ్ అనేది కొంచెం డిఫికల్ట్ అవుతా ఉందండి. ఆ భయం పోయేందుకు కొంచెం టైం పడుతుంది.
అవును, కరెక్టే. మీకు ఇంట్రెస్ట్ తప్పకండి. ఇంట్రెస్ట్ ఉంటే ఆటోమేటిక్ గా యు విల్ గెట్ దట్.
కోవిదలో కూడా తద్దిదాంతాలు, నిచ్ ప్రత్యయాలు అవన్నీ స్టార్టింగ్ ఉంది కదా. ఇప్పుడు అవి ఇప్పుడు మీకు టీచ్ చేసినంత వరకు మాకు అర్థమైంది. తర్వాత హైయర్ లెవెల్ పోవాలంటే we have to struggle a lot, and some good teacher must be there to make us understand the Panini rules and other things.
There is no higher level andi. There is no higher level.
It is a continuous
journey. నిత్య ప్రత్యయాంతాలు వచ్చిన తర్వాత ఓకే యంగ్లు నేర్చుకుంటారు, తర్వాత ఇంకేదో నేర్చుకుంటారు, సన్న ప్రత్యయాలు నేర్చుకుంటారు, తర్వాత ఏవో కామ్యచ్ అంటారు, ఒక్కొక్క ప్రత్యయం నేర్చుకోవడం అంతే.
ఏమంటే ఇప్పుడు ఎట్టంటే ఏదో బేసిక్ లో ఇంకా బేసిక్ లెవెల్ లో కూడా ఉన్నామా లేదా,
అది మీ మెంటల్ బ్లాక్. ఇది బేసిక్, ఇది అడ్వాన్స్, అది మీరు పెట్టుకున్న బ్లాక్. అలాంటివి ఏమీ ఉండవు. ఒక ధాతు ఉంటుంది, ఒక ప్రాతిపదిక ఉంటుంది, ఒక ప్రత్యయం ఉంటుంది. సంస్కృతం మొత్తంలో ఈ 3 ఉంటాయి. ధాతు, ప్రాతిపదిక, ప్రత్యయ. ఇందులో అడ్వాన్స్ ఏముంది, బేసిక్ ఏముంది? ఇది మీరు బుర్రలో పెట్టుకున్నది. షప్ అనేది ఏమో బేసిక్ ప్రత్యయాన్ని, నిచ్ అనేదేమో అడ్వాన్స్ ప్రత్యయాన్ని. ఏం లేదు. ధాతుకి ప్రత్యయం చేరిస్తే క్రియాపదం తయారవుతుంది, ప్రాతిపదిక ప్రత్యయం చేస్తే నామరూపం తయారవుతుంది. ఇందులో అడ్వాన్స్ ఏముంది, అందులో బేసిక్ ఏముంది? ఏమీ లేదు. మీరు పెట్టుకున్న కేటగిరీస్ అవన్నీ.
అంటే నేను అదేమంటే రఘువంశ శ్లోకాలు అవన్నీ అర్థం చేసుకోవాలంటే ఈజ్ వెరీ డిఫికల్ట్, నాట్ సో ఈజీ.
అది మీరు పక్కన పెట్టండి. రఘువంశం కావ్యం ఎందుకు? ఒక శ్లోకం తీసుకోండి. శ్లోకంలో ఒక పదం ఉంటుంది, పదంలో సమాసం ఉంటుంది. సమాసం ఉంటే ఉంటుంది, సమాసం లేకపోతే ఉండదు. సమాసాలు 4 రకాలు. అందులోకి అంత కాంప్లికేటెడ్ చేయలేదు. పాణిని మహర్షి ఇంకా తను మన బుర్ర లెవెల్ ఆలోచించి క్రియేటెడ్. సమాసం ఎప్పుడు 2 పదాల్లోనే ఏర్పడుతుంది. వాట్ ఆర్ ద చాయిసెస్? పూర్వ పదం ఇంపార్టెంట్, ఉత్తర పదం ఇంపార్టెంట్, ఉభయ పదం ఇంపార్టెంట్, అన్య పదం ఇంపార్టెంట్. అయిపోయింది కదా 4 కేటగిరీస్. పూర్వ పదం మీకు ఇంపార్టెంట్ అయితే ఓ సమాసం, రెండో పదం ఉత్తర పదం ఇంపార్టెంట్ అయితే ఇంకో సమాసం, 2 అయితే మీకేమో ఉభయపద ప్రధానం, అన్యపద ప్రధానం. ఇప్పుడు పీతాంబరం అన్నారు అనుకోండి, దానికి పీత అంటే ఎల్లోతోటి సంబంధం లేదు, అంబరం అంటే గుడ్డతోటి సంబంధం లేదు. అన్యపద పదార్థం. అక్కడ ప్రధానం ఎవరు? కృష్ణుడు. అన్యపదం అయిపోయాడు. సో సమాసాలు 4. సో ఇవే నేర్చుకోవాలి మీరు. ఇందులో అడ్వాన్స్ ఏం లేదు, బేసిక్ ఏం లేదు. ఎవ్రీ సింగిల్ సూత్ర యూ హ్యావ్ టు అప్రోచ్ దాట్ వే, దెన్ యూ విల్ మేక్ ప్రోగ్రెస్.
కాన్సెప్ట్స్ క్లియర్ గా నేర్చుకోవాలి, అంతే. అస్తు.
నమస్కారం.
సరేనండి
బాబు గారు, డాక్టర్ బాబు.
ఓకే, అస్తు. థ్యాంక్ యూ వెరీ మచ్ ఫర్ ఆల్ ద participants for participating in this very interesting discussion, and the webinar itself is very informative and very interesting, very important for all of us. In fact, in the invitation I have written Panini Ashtadhyayi scholar Anant Upadhyayula garu, but no, he said no, change it. I'm not a scholar yet. I'm still an enthusiast. So enthusiast means he is still learning. So unless you have that fire in your stomach, that you still have to learn. At one stage, you think that, I have learned everything. And this is the stage where you think I learned everything. But if you think you are an enthusiast, you definitely learn, the complete Panini Ashtadhyayi very soon. Very shortly, like he said, in 1.5 years, he can always learn this. Now, I hope that, these all the participants are very interested in learning Panini Vyakaranam, looking for a sort of, guide, some sort of, guidance. If you can, conduct some more classes as requested by HP, be useful to all of them. The aim is to encourage these people and then make them learn Panini Vyakaranam up to whatever level you feel important to all of us. That we will plan, sir, separately.
Yeah.
Now, let us, shall we close? If you are with your permission, we will close.
Yeah, I mean,
But a big
Prakash garu?
thank you to
Yes,
big
sir.
thank you
Yeah,
to
yeah.
Anant Upadhyayula garu.
yeah.
Very
thanks,
big
sir.
thank you. Very big thank you.
Thank you for listening.
Since it is the beginning, let us keep these thanks postponed till we complete.
Yeah.
If you permit, sir. Yeah. Okay. Now, Prakash garu.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, please chant Prarthana.
Yes, sir. Praja Paripalayanta Ayena Margena Mahishaha Gobrahmanebhyah Subhamastu Nityam Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu Kale Varshatu Parjanyaha Prithvi Sasyashalini Desoyam Kshobarahitah Brahmana Santu Nirbhayaha Aputra Putrinas Santu Pautrinah Adana Sadana Santu Jivantu Saradam Satam Satyam Vada Dharmam Chara Swadhyayan Mahapramadah Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramayah Sarve Bhadrani Pasyantu Ma Kachit Dukkha Bhag Bhavet Om Shanti 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 Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate Om Shanti 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 Sarve Jana Sukhino Bhavantu Swasti Sarvebhyah Namaskaraha.
Namaste.
Okay, now let's go for national anthem. I will chant, all of you follow. जनगणमन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल वंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्छल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव सुभाषित मागे गाहे तव जय गाथा जनगण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे
जय 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 हे జై హింద్, జై హింద్, జై శ్రీరామ్, జై శ్రీరామ్.
జై శ్రీరామ్. సర్వేభ్యः నమస్కారం సార్.
సర్వేభ్యः నమస్కారం. ధన్యవాదాలు. It is closed.
ధన్యవాదాలు సార్.
Thank you, Anant garu. Very nice of you. Sparing your time. And please give us more lectures.